Jill and Christian Winger. We're jumping right into it, okay, guys?
Yeah.
How were you serving the world? Best serving the world 15 years ago. You could do some math. Take your time. We'll...
15 years. We just got married.
Ooh.
I was an electrician.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I was a vet tech. So we were...
Vet tech. What does a vet tech look like?
I would help with surgeries. I would go and help preg check cattle, test bulls. So I was...
Test bulls?
Yes.
Like for semen count?
Yes.
do you know how they
Ooh.
test
Do
bulls?
you know how
I
to do
don't know, but I have a feeling that I know.
It might not be rated
We're
for the
starting
podcast.
out hot here. We're starting out hot.
What
Rather than
rating
top.
is this
I know,
podcast?
I
I don't know
This
if we
isn't the
can go
Joe
there or
Rogan
not.
show, okay?
Yeah.
Look it up on
So
ask
maybe
Mrs.
don't.
BootTube
actually.
about that
Be
one.
careful of your search term.
I'm pretty sure I
Google that?
know how did they do it, and
Yeah.
I'm still in
So,
disbelief about
I wonder
that.
why
Yeah.
I wonder why you quit
Yeah.
that and
Actually,
went into
I
homesteading.
liked all the
She was
gory
actually
vet
really
stuff.
good at
Oh,
it.
you know she was. How do you know? How do you know,
The
Christian?
vet,
Because the vet told me.
we had a whole thing. We were like,
You never went and watched.
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
the vet that is your vet the vet you used to work for?
yeah,
Oh, that's funny.
same one. So yeah, but I liked it. I didn't ever go to school for it, so I just asked for a job. No kids, needed another income. So what else do you do with your life? You have children, you work.
Right.
So I just asked for a job, and they gave me a job and taught me, as we went. So it was fun. I'm glad I did it.
Were you homesteading at that time?
I had no, and not when we started. I had towards the end, as I knew we were going to start trying to have a kid, and I started that's when my awakening happened. And I remember the last few months of working at the vet clinic, I would be reading all these blogs and homesteading books, at home, and then I would come to the vet clinic. I remember prepping dogs for surgery, fantasizing about making yogurt. It was super weird. So anyway, it was at the tail end. It kind of crossed over.
Yeah.
So is that why you quit the vet, or were you already on your way out?
We were on our way out. I knew I wanted to stay at home with our first baby.
Oh, you were having a baby.
We were trying to get pregnant, and then we got pregnant, and I was like, yeah, I want to stay home.
I'm done.
What made you want to stay home with the baby?
At that point, I had a stay-at-home mom, and so that was kind of the only thing I'd ever considered. And I was making $11 an hour, and I drove 30 minutes. So just financially, it made 0 cents to pay for daycare. And I always knew that if we're gonna have kids, I wanted to stay home. That was part
This
of the
was in
plan.
Wyoming?
Planned from the beginning.
Yeah.
And you guys were living in Wyoming.
Yes, we
You
were
al-
living on
you
the same
always did.
place
Oh,
that we
you were living
have
where
now.
you are
yeah.
now.
It looked different.
Very different.
Very different. But
Are you both born in Wyoming?
No, I was born in Wyoming. Jill's from northern Idaho, so
yeah.
Okay. Sometimes I hear a Christian call a root a rut.
Is that a
Or
Wyoming
roof
thing?
a rough.
yeah, a rut, like a
A root.
like a
Oh, root. Like a root cellar.
oh
There you go. Yeah.
Seller.
yeah.
That's a Wyoming thing.
Yeah.
I thought
Because
it was
that's
just
also like a
New
Minnesota
England.
thing.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, when we were in Minnesota,
I said, wait,
talked
is
like
he
that.
from Canada?
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
It's also Canadian.
My sister said ever since I moved to Wyoming, she's like, you've got every so often you say something that sounds really like Midwest Wisconsin, and I'm like, oh, I did not know that about myself, but it must be some crossover. I don't know.
So you were home. You got the Homestead Bug. You're quitting this thing. You're gonna go work for. Were you okay with that, Christian?
We hadn't bought our place yet.
No,
we
were renting.
Yeah.
We bought the place. I had worked with that clinic for 2 years. About halfway through, bought the place because I remember we were both our 9 to 5s.
We were shopping for a place
Yeah.
that whole time. Since the day we got married, we started looking for our own place. But we had a long list of things that we had to meet. We just didn't want the corner place that had been subsidized or, subdivided rather. We didn't want HOAs. We didn't want covenants. We didn't want, we wanted to live somewhere where we were truly free and had full autonomy over our property, which is,
But we didn't
believe
know
it or not,
Homestead.
it's
Is
hard
that
to
hard
find.
in Wyoming?
Yeah. It's
It is, because unless you want a $20 million ranch, those you can find. But everything, right outside your major cities, if you can call it a major city in Wyoming, has still been subdivided. So they've taken bigger ranches and then divide them down into 20 acres or 40 acre plots.
And then it's like HOA-ish.
Oh, yeah,
Totally.
yeah.
Hardcore.
Which we were I was adamantly against. I mean, I don't know
Yeah.
that we knew enough about each other that early in our relationship to really know, if I knew I had Jill's full backing on that, but I really wanted somewhere where it was just raw. Like this, there's no
Like
rules.
you got.
We got
Yeah.
over
Yeah, we got
I
it.
don't I don't imagine HOA when I think of Wyoming.
I know. I don't either.
Well, that's the thing.
Suburbia.
There's so many big ranches that obviously
Yeah.
don't have HOAs, and then there's
Yeah.
anything right around Cheyenne.
So it's hard to
Casper.
find
Yeah.
like an in between.
Yeah.
It's
It
not
is.
like
Yeah.
it's like either 20,000 or like a 40-acre
Yes.
HOA.
And that's even now, like
Interesting.
I always look at real estate just for fun. And it's still rare. It stands out to me when I find that obscure amount of acreage. It's not 40 acres, not 5 acres, and it doesn't have covenants and it has an old farmhouse. Like that's kind of rare. It always catches my attention.
Yeah.
So it's just, yeah.
Is Wyoming cowboy country?
Certain parts of it are very cowboy country. You think
Is-
of, or
Yeah.
I think
think-
of like Cheyenne as being cowboy country, and I don't know that I would say that. It's the home of the daddy of them all, which is the world's largest outdoor rodeo.
Mm.
And at a time, I think maybe there was more cowboy type stuff in Cheyenne, but it's more of a railroad town, an Air Force town now. There's some industrial farming and stuff that goes on around Cheyenne, but
Is Wyoming the cowboy state of all America?
Is it the Cowboy state?
the cowboy.
Does that
In
on,
your
is that on
opinion.
the license plate?
No, it's the
Or
equality.
Or is it Colorado?
It's the
The
equality,
equality
state,
state
is the
is
official
the
The
motto.
quality
Yeah.
state.
Yeah.
What about-
Interesting.
Yes, I think.
What about Texas? There are more cowboys in Texas?
No.
Yeah,
No.
There's only
so many
500,000.
people in Texas.
There's only
Only because there's more
500,000
people in Texas.
per capita.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why? What happened to Texas?
No,
Why isn't Texas the? Okay, come on. I thought you maybe had a beef with
Yeah.
Texas.
It's a
We wanna-
different type of
We
cowboy.
can get into the
No.
beefs this
It's a
early
different.
on.
It's a different type of cowboy. I mean, you have a lot
Oh,
of.
tell me about the different kind of cowboys.
Well, there's regional types of cowboys. There's the buckaroo that follow the vaquero tradition.
Yeah.
They're more California, right? And then
Okay.
you have the
Ah.
Texans. Like they rope different. Their hats are different.
Okay.
Some of the methods are different.
Very
Very
taco
interesting. I
hats.
didn't
And
know
you can
any
tell.
of this.
Oh, you can
Yeah.
totally.
I would
Oh,
not
yeah.
be able to tell.
Like
Pointy
yeah.
cowboy
Would I be
boots.
able to tell?
Ah.
Yeah, you could tell. Like Texans.
I mean, if I
If
like
she
studied
trained
it, I
you-
guess.
If you
Yeah.
were
Would have
to
trained,
train
yeah,
you.
if you
Yeah.
were trained,
You wouldn't go to
would
a-
see.
I wouldn't go to a radio and be like, "Oh, that's
wouldn't go on the
Texas,
radio
that's
tour and
California,
figure
that's
out-
Wyoming."
And then
Oh,
you
this
have
is
rodeo
different.
cowboys, which is kind of its own. I mean, sometimes they'll cross over into the other genres, but they're kind of their own thing. So, like, if a Texan comes to a Wyoming branding with rubber on his horn, like he has his saddle horn wrapped in rubber for roping, like that can cause some problems with
Really?
because the other cowboys like will do mule hide and longer ropes. So Texans have short ropes, and like a Wyoming
Oh.
cowboy will have usually a longer rope. They're just different. It's kind of funny. They take a lot of pride in that. So
Very
Have you
interesting.
guys ever bull ride?
No.
Okay.
I rode a steer out of a bucking chute, but
How'd you do?
not very good. it was not.
And
I
you rode it
really
one
I didn't
time.
die. But
I
that
really
was
don't
about
want
it.
my kids to be
So
bull riders.
are you scared your kids will grow up to be cowboys?
No,
No, I yeah.
not at all. I mean, I
I'd be
want them
fine
to
with
grow
that.
up to have
Yeah,
that
it's great.
cowboy mindset.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the cowboy mindset? Three parts.
Oh gosh.
Go.
Me.
You looked there. We aren't live. You can take your time on
Yeah,
this.
yeah, yeah.
I think
So the
it's,
cowboy mindset is
I think it's a lot of like a homesteader mindset. Like
which?
it's
For sure.
resilience, it's grittiness, it's not seeing yourself as a victim and taking high amounts of
Ooh.
personal responsibility for your life and for the things that are in your care.
What about peeing outside?
That's definitely
Does
a
that
thing.
go for a
Yeah.
cowboy?
I pee outside more than I pee
Yeah.
inside.
I thought so too, and I went to an RV park on the Great American Farm Tour. We're in Wyoming,
Yeah.
on the way to Yellowstone, like
No,
out
we
there out
weren't.
of
We
nowhere.
were in Montana.
And
Is it Montana?
Rebecca
Call it
goes
Yellowstone? Or is it
inside.
Wyoming?
Well,
No,
it
it was
has-
out of Cody.
it can go-
We were near
yeah.
Cody. That's Wyoming.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's why.
yeah, yeah.
Is that
Am I
not
saying
Wyoming? That's cowboy
right
country.
correctly? Okay.
Rebecca goes inside to pay. I go outside of the bus. You know, I'm on the edge of the parking lot, which is gravel, and I go around. Nobody's around, and I pee. Is that okay? Is that okay in Wyoming?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought so too.
Yeah. Did you get in trouble?
He got in trouble.
Well, I came back around from the bus.
Yeah.
And this woman just starts
Somebody
yelling
saw
at
you.
me,
Oh my
grilling
gosh.
at me. You pee outside that? You pee in my parking lot? You don't have a bathroom in there? And I apologize profusely. Hey, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. You're right. I'm sorry. Yes, I have a bathroom. I'm so sorry.
You're saving water.
I apologize profusely. And I hoped and prayed it was over. And really didn't think anything of it. Till Rebecca comes out of the office fuming. What happened in there, Rebecca?
she was like, "Whose rig is that out there?" And I'm like,
Rebecca has no
there's,
idea
like,
what happened.
a lot of people
Yeah.
in the office. Not a lot, like 4 other family people who had just pulled in and were like, we were all checking in. And she's like, "The white one." And I'm like, oh, that's us. And I have Jonah and Josiah with me in there, okay? And she's like, and so I'm like, okay. And I like come forward and she's like, your husband was peeing. I mean, so she was like acting like she was going to like talk low with me. So
Yeah.
I like
She's
come in
drawing
and
her
then
in
she
with her
like
fingers.
Yelling.
yells it out for
Yeah.
everyone. And I'm like, your husband was peeing in the parking lot. And I'm like, yeah, I'm in here and he's his own person. Like, I don't control
Got
him.
his mom.
Like,
You
I
know,
don't control him.
if
And
you-
long story short, we did not stay at that
No.
RV
Yeah, you
park.
came
I
out
was
fuming.
like-
You came out fuming, and we're
I
having
was
this
like-
discussion like, what do we do? You know, it's kind of hard to find an RV park right here in Wyoming. What do we do? And
the
we
kids are
decided
like,
about to
"There's
leave.
one down
And here
the
comes a
street."
man. Here comes a man out here.
Yes.
And ends up apologizing for. Come to find out, he's like, I'm her third husband.
Oh.
Like, there's no reason.
No,
But anyway, I shouldn't have peed in the parking lot. But I thought,
But
you know, she didn't see me. She just saw the urine under the bus, right? She saw
Yeah.
that part.
yeah.
So it's
I
not
was
like I was
like- I
I
flashing.
feel like
her.
most
And
people
she
are not
just
that-
so
yeah.
embarrassed,
Okay.
and the boys
I'm just
were.
wanna
We
make
were
sure-
all so embarrassed
That's
because
most cowboys would be all right.
I
with
feel
that.
like
Oh, yeah.
people have been peeing outside for longer than they've been peeing inside.
especially a bus.
You know, as you go back in history, it's not like
You
anything
actually
new.
have history
Just
on
look
your
at-
side.
Look at
I wish we would have thought of that. Actually,
More
history is
normal.
on our side, not yours.
Yeah.
No, but we actually went down to an RV. We went further down, closer to Cody, and it was a better RV park. There was a pool.
Yeah.
The kids
Yeah,
had there
it
was a
turned out
hot tub.
You
The
can pee
kids
wherever you
liked
want.
it.
Yeah.
It's better.
So back to
It was
different
cheaper
kinds,
too.
different kinds of cowboys. So you guys come here. We just got back from the Homesteaders America. It's kind of a wreck in our house. Rebecca and I,
it's such
you
a
know,
wreck.
Henry wouldn't go to sleep last night, so we just tore apart everything. And even before you came, I'm like, kids, clean up the porch. We don't want to look like a bunch of rednecks. And
It's
when
true.
you guys came here, I'm like, well, I don't want you guys to. We're going to take pictures after we get it all cleaned up. So you guys don't think we're a
Send
bunch of
it to me.
hillbilly rednecks. I was trying to clarify.
Yeah.
So there are different kind of rednecks.
Yeah.
And I imagine there are rednecks in Wyoming.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
Are there rednecks? And then are there redneck cowboys? And then are there cowboys?
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure, for sure.
Yeah,
They're-
so
they're
there's
what
all
I-
sorts
So you can be a
Because-
cowboy and not a redneck.
There's what I consider to be cowboys, and then what real cowboys.
Yeah.
And
Who are the real
the
cowboys?
redneck cowboys are the ones that you're like, want to be cowboys.
Yeah. You can tell, like, even just in town, like,
Yeah.
they're more rural minded, but they're still not cowboys. Like, they wear boots and Wranglers and they have a hat on, but you can just tell. In a crowd, I could tell you exactly who can ride a horse and who can't just by the way
So
they're
you,
Really?
you can tell you had you
Yeah.
can tell they don't have any experience
Can
with
you-
rural.
Yeah.
Can you tell if we can ride a horse?
I mean, judging by
Go ahead,
Yeah.
judge.
how you're
Yeah.
how you dress, I would say no.
Okay. All right.
I mean, is that a fair
Alright.
judgment?
Let's talk.
let's define the horse.
Oh,
Because
is there
I've
different
ridden a horse.
horses?
Yeah.
I've ridden a horse.
we could give you a
maybe
horse
10
that you can
times
ride.
and fallen off 4 times. Does that count?
Okay.
We can
I mean,
give you a
we
horse.
could give you a horse
that
that you can
ride. Like
No,
we
I'll
take
take
our
it.
kids' rides
No, I'm
We
not
around.
could
gonna
give
do
you a
Yeah.
horse
Yeah.
that you couldn't ride.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I
So-
grew up riding horses, but I didn't love it. Like it
Yeah.
scared me. Like
Yeah.
I was afraid, and so like I was afraid to like make it run, and I was like, I think we'll just walk, you know, like, and it was an old horse. It was like a 23-year-old
Yeah.
horse, you know, so it wasn't gonna buck me off or anything.
So let's do this test then.
I can ride one,
Are-
but it'd be the one that Christian's like, you can ride it.
Are we
It's the
are,
wooden rocking horse in the corner.
are we hillbillies, rednecks, or country people?
Oh, I would say country.
Or
Yeah,
hippies.
I'd say country
I would say
people.
country.
Yeah.
Or hippies.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or a
That's
mix.
why.
No,
mean-
I would say country. I would consider you country.
Yeah.
Or
people.
there's
So you
kind
can
of-
be country and not a redneck.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's what like
Just
the
like-
homestead title, because I feel like the
Okay.
homestead's kind of that other category. It's not super redneck necessarily. I mean,
Yeah.
everything crosses over if you want
Yeah,
it
that's
to.
true.
But it's not industrial farmer. That's why I've always been like, this is a nice little in between thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't look like we can ride horses, Justin.
I know,
We
we
better
failed
get
the
some
horse
horses
riding
before
test.
the next
Yeah.
5 years before they come back.
Come on out. Come on out. We have more horses now since you were there last
Oh,
time. so
really?
we'll hook you up. Yeah. Yeah.
My kids want to ride horses so bad, especially after we were at your
Oh, yeah.
house. They were like, "Mom, please." And I was like, I dragged my feet and
I think you guys have the definite potential because you're animal people, and that's
Yeah.
there's a
Yeah.
very big line, and it's another line that you can see in the homesteading world where
Mm-hmm.
some people have no animal feel, you know, and a lot of people will look at a horse and they think that a horse is like a side by side. Or
Right.
they think that you can get on a horse just because I've got his reins, like he's a mechanical machine now, and I can just push a button and make him go where I want, make him do what I want, and that's not reality.
Yeah, it's not.
That horse has got a brain and a heartbeat just like you and I do, and he's got his own wants and his own desires, and some days he wakes up grumpy. But he's no different than a cow. He's no different than a dog. He's no
Right.
different than a pig. And so if you can recognize and read the
An
animals,
animal.
that gives you a leg up, so to speak, in the horse world, because the horse world is no different. You've got to be able to develop a relationship with that animal. Now, the interesting thing is there are a lot of push-button horses out there that have been trained and basically beaten into the ground, to make them mechanical, which she would probably talk about more than I would, but it's the same thing in animals. It's or cows or in anything else.
Well, I think there is also the line between big animals and small animals.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, like, I think sometimes when people are like, I want to get a cow, but they have no big animal experience. I think about the first time we got cows, like I had horse experience, but again, it was like fear-based. Like I was a fearful child. And then Justin had a lot of cow experience growing up. So like we brought the cows home and I was like, they're yours.
Well, and that's what's
I'm
fascinating.
afraid.
If you watch somebody work with small animals, like goats or something, if you let that goat get away with certain habits, even though it's small, that goat is pushing that person around in a way.
That's
Physically
true.
the goat's not big enough that it can push you around, but he's in his own way, he's pushing somebody around. Or a dog, you got good dogs and you got bad dogs, and there are dogs that sit outside and bark all day long, or they're jumping on your furniture or jumping on you. That's that animal's way of pushing against you. And if that person can't learn to manage that, then you upgrade into a bigger animal, and now you have problems, because now the cow is physically big enough that it can push you around and run you over. Or a horse. Horses are even smarter.
Yeah.
I hate to say that because she's sitting next to me.
He's a beef guy.
But horses are even smarter, and so now they learn. They're like a dog. They're like a healer. That healer, we've got healers, and those healers will test you every day of their life. They just push and push and push. Even a well-trained, behaved healer will just constantly test you because they're smart.
Right.
And the horse is the same way. The horse is like, hey, what can I get away with today? And so you get on the horse and you want to go for a ride. Well, that horse is like, hey, I want to push on you here. I want to push on you there. And if the person can't recognize that and interpret that and correct that, then.
So how does somebody get that touch that you talk about, being able to handle an animal like that?
A lot of the guys I've worked with say you can't, they call it feel, and they say you can't teach feel.
Wow.
And I think it's just, you just have to do it, and you're going to mess some stuff up. Like I've made plenty of horses dull.
Oh, yeah.
Like many. And I've messed up dogs, messing up a dog right now as we speak.
You may not be able to teach feel, but that doesn't mean it can't be learned.
It can be learned.
It just has to, it's something you have to
You just learn by
experience.
doing
you
it.
have
That's
to
what I'm
do.
saying.
You
And
have
it's
to do
not,
it. You
and it's
can't-
not getting a
Yeah.
donkey first. That's not the plan. Or a mini horse.
I would say,
Or a goat first.
Yeah, I think
that
honestly
make any
it's
sense, or
working
just
with
go ahead and get a
somebody who
horse?
can recognize those
Yeah.
things.
Okay.
So even if it's a small animal like a goat, if you're working with somebody who has animal knowledge and can see, hey, you're letting that animal push all over you. When you get into a bigger animal, you're going to have bigger problems. So
Yeah.
if you can correct it now,
Oh,
even with
wow.
a small animal or with a dog, then
Is that why I can walk up to my cows and other people can't
yes.
sometimes?
absolutely.
Yeah.
And not only
And why
that,
my cows will pick on other people?
but your
Farm
animals
sitter?
can read
They
you
read.
just like you can read.
Well, and I think our
Animals.
bull does that to me. Like he intimidates me.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Like I'll be like in there doing the minerals, and he starts walking towards me, and I'm like, like
See,
I mean,
and
he's a
he-
bulk, so
and
like
he knows
there's a
that.
lot of respect. He knows
Yeah.
Yeah.
that I'm like, you can have the right away. I'll let you because you're way bigger than me.
You
Like,
got to go in there like you own it.
I know, but I don't deal
We're
with
not
him
talking
enough.
about being violent. We're talking about just owning it.
I know, but I don't deal with him enough. Like, and I don't want to.
How would somebody overcome that fear? I'd be scared to death to get close to a horse.
It's experience again. It's just
Yeah, I think with horses especially, because we mentioned, I think last night we were talking about homesteaders getting horses, and I think of all the animals you're going to add to a farm, you need to have an experienced mentor with the horses. Like you can
Okay.
kind of fudge your way with goats, and maybe even a milk calf, you kind of have some experience. A horse, they're a little bit different, and I think getting lessons and having a horse person
Okay.
help you is really key. Because I see that all the time. People, I want to add a horse to the homestead. I'm like, I love action. I love like jumping out of the plane and building a parachute on the way down. But a horse, get some help with that one.
Okay, help me out. So we had horses growing up. I fell off.
You fell off a lot.
3 or 4 times, and just got terrified.
Yeah.
But you were also a scared child, like
I guess one part of my question is when you're breaking, we're trying to break this one horse. Do you get back on? Is that the method? You get cucked off, you should get immediately back on.
Well,
is that correct?
I would say for the most part, yes. There are instances where that horse maybe bucked you off so violently that you need to have someone else help you before you just get on and get that
you could
happening
do some
again.
groundwork with that horse before you just jump back on. But
what's the groundwork?
Well, it's just working with that animal and you're not on his back. So you're still working with him with a flag or with a lead rope or something,
just
but you're just not on his back.
So how does somebody overcome... Okay, so there's fear there.
But if you take that back a second and you go, if you don't get back on that horse or you don't at least continue to work with that horse, you've positively reinforced in that horse's mind that what he did was okay.
And they will learn that real
And
quick.
they're going to learn that. So it's no different with a cow, or it's no, if a bull pushes you around and shoves you into a corner and you don't figure out a way to correct that situation, now he knows, hey, I'm not the superior one here anymore. I'm not, or you're not the superior one.
Yeah,
you're
he's
not
always
the alpha
looking.
now. And so,
yeah.
I mean, that's what's fascinating. You can take somebody, say on a homestead where you've got 1 or 2 cows or 10 cows, and then you take somebody and put them in a pen where there's 200 cows or 200 cows and 200 calves, and we want to sort all the calves off those cows. Now it's where those dynamics really become amplified. And so now it literally
You don't want me to do that
depends
job,
on-
Christian.
I
So
mean,
if
you
I ever
can
come visit
affect-
you, don't put me on that job.
Put you in the middle of the pen.
I got a spot for you on the fence. Then. You can watch. But you can, it's, as an example, one of my favorite things to do is when we're AIing our heifers, when we're heat detecting them. So we'll pull out the ones that are in heat and put them in a separate pen. Well, they're all in there together, so there might be 50 of them. And there's 6 that are in heat. And I want somebody to pull those 6 out of that group of 100.
Wow.
It takes some pretty good skill to do
Yeah, it
that. And we're not
does.
doing it on horseback because it's in a real small pen. So now you literally can stand in that pen and manipulate a herd of 100 cows by just inches, and your body language and how you're carrying your energy and how you're moving around. It's fascinating.
So the other thing is we talk about putting up boundaries with animals and not being fearful, and that's a piece of it. But the other piece is a lot of these animals are so extremely sensitive. Like, we don't even realize how much data they're picking up off of us. And so, like with my horses, even I started working with a guy a couple years ago, and he just kind of reminded me, I was taking a lot of that for granted. And as I started to become more aware of just around my horses, and now I'm also seeing it with my dogs and my cows and the chickens, the littlest things, breathing in and out a certain way, the way you shift your shoulders, the way you hold your body, how fast or slow you move, they pick up on all that. And if an animal is dull, it's because the humans usually taught them to be dull. And they compensate for our sloppiness a lot. So that's another thing with the horses. Like, what you can have a dog that you've taught bad habits to without even realizing it, and it's not the end of the world. A horse, it can kill you if
Yeah.
So there is more at stake there. But
yeah, Teddy's bad habits aren't going to kill me.
And we have lots of dogs with
there's
bad
lots of
habits,
leeway
and
there.
it's like, okay, well, it's annoying, but
Yeah.
it's fine.
So when you're standing in these 200 calves, how tall are they? Or how much do they weigh?
Oh, probably around 1,000 pounds.
What?
Wow,
And you'll
that's a
stand in
lot.
there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And somebody who didn't know what they was doing,
They would get killed.
they would be put down in the order. And a steer would dominate them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that it would happen immediately because when my cows obviously know me, and so we get in there and we've established a relationship with them, and so they're not real surprised.
Okay.
If you take some cows, and that's one of the, that's part of the program that we use with our calves and our heifers as we're raising them anyway. We want them to be used to us. We don't want them to get in the pen or in the corral where we've got to work with them, and then we get in there with them and they're freaked out and they're running all over the place and trying to break out and whatever, or trying to run us over. We don't want that. So we spend a fair amount of time just so that they're used to us being around. But if you took somebody who was completely inexperienced, they're gonna test you a little bit, you're testing them a little bit, and it's like this dance, and then before long they're gonna figure out this guy doesn't know what he's doing, or they're gonna figure out, hey, I know what I'm doing, and the next thing you know, they wouldn't be able to get those 6 cows out without and keep the other ones in there.
Do you have a staff or a flag or something?
A lot of times we'll use a flag or, just a sorting stick.
Okay.
But, and like I say, if you're good, 2 of us can go through and pull those 6 out, and
No problem.
there's nobody runs. They're going to match your energy. So if I come in and I'm worked up and I'm freaked out and I'm carrying a tremendous amount of energy into the situation, or if I'm, you may have heard the jokes about people working cows. They get all mad and start yelling and screaming and cussing and stuff like that. I mean, if you carry that kind of energy into that, the cows are going to give you that kind of energy in return.
Yeah.
Where me and the guy that I run cows with, we could literally, or Jill, or whatever, somebody who is experienced, we go in there and we can sort those 6 cows out or however many out, and you're barely even moving. And those cows are just milling around, and it's like they don't even know what took place. And so it's beautiful to see that on that skill. That's a skill that, I think is something that could be taught even to a deeper degree, even at the homestead level.
Nice.
I think you get, we'll call them a backyard homesteader, or somebody who just runs out and get goats or runs out and gets their first milk cow and doesn't have any animal husbandry experience. There's a lot more to it than just making sure the animal's got clean water and fresh food.
Yeah.
You've got to be able to establish that relationship with that animal and be able to trust the animal around you and trust the animal around your kid and be able to interpret it.
Yeah.
Because I could take that same herd of cows, and if I'm calving now and I've got one who's in a tremendous amount of pain, that cow's going to react and treat me way different. That cow 2 hours ago might have looked at me as, hey, he's the boss and I'm going to heed wherever he's at. To now, she's in a tremendous amount of pain. She doesn't know what's going on. She's in labor, and she's going to mow you down. And you've got to be able to interpret that difference.
Yeah, that's true.
So, and you could have the same thing on a homestead. You could have your family milk cow who is trying to calve and is calving a calf that is breached or, sitting down and is backwards or something like that, and physically in a position she can't get it out. And if you don't know how to interpret that energy, and you maybe not even at the vet level of interpreting what's going on with the pregnancy, but being able to interpret her and say there's something really wrong here, and she means business now. So where I would have just run in there and thrown a leg over, or played with the kids or whatever, now we're gonna have to treat her and respect this situation totally differently.
We got a dog because of y'all. Because your dogs follow your kids around.
Yeah.
This one, he won't.
He doesn't follow, he just likes Rebekah.
Something that we learned maybe the hard way was just another method of interpreting energy was when we got our first Mastiff.
Yeah.
Because we'd always been used to working around working dogs, like a healer. And so they interpret the energy differently from a cow or from a horse or whatever than a guard dog. So that healer would see, an animal doing something, or maybe even would see me reacting to an animal doing something that I don't want it to do. And the healer want to circle around and be like, okay, this cow's trying to get out the gate, or this horse is trying to get out the gate. We need to stop it. Where the guard dog breed would be like, that horse is trying to get out. We need to kill it.
Kill it. Yeah.
Or we need to kill the calf, or we need to kill the dog, or kill, whatever,
UPS
because they
man.
just interpret that energy so much differently. And then it's amplified. Like I say, those animals are watching you to see what your energy level is. And so we would be sort of reckless and, maybe just sloppy in our energy. And the cow dog would forgive us for that, because I might get excited. Be like, hey, you're yelling because the cow's trying to get out the gate. Somebody go over there and do something about it. Well, now the guard dog interprets that energy as there's something seriously wrong here.
That's a good point.
And there's somebody's life is on
Life
the line
is
here.
danger.
It's just so that we had to figure out, how do we back our energy way down when that animal or that dog was around.
That was a big lesson. I remember that dog taught us a lot.
Yeah.
Back to your cow thing, you can't get between, if a new calf's over here and mama's here, she don't care if you're standing right in the middle. She'll plow you down.
Yeah.
It's like she doesn't even see you.
Right.
She's got on
She'll
blinders.
see you as a threat,
So
basically.
you got to be intuitive. You got to.
So like when we're calving and we're tagging our calves, so we try to catch them within 24 hours of being born, so we can put a tag in their ear that identifies them basically to their mom.
Will a mom plow you down? to defend her calf?
Sure. There's some cows out there. There's some
Some are meaner
cows that
than
we
others.
have that we just know them. You know,
Has
so
she
we're
ever?
like, oh, there's red tag over here. You got to watch her. Or maybe what it takes is two of us out there, somebody to act as the bait and keep the cow busy while somebody else circles.
You
in
go out
grabs
there
the
and help,
calf.
Jill?
Yeah, I will sometimes.
Have you guys ever been plowed down?
Oh, for sure. Not necessarily in the point that. I mean, you got to be smart about what
You
you're
haven't
doing.
been
He
injured.
has one little thing. Last time I went out with him, they have it all. They do a lot in the Ranger, so he'll drive up on the calf. The Ranger kind of keeps going. He jumps out, does the tag real quick, and then jumps right back in the Ranger with the door never shutting. So
Yeah.
you're
You
always
gotta be fast.
real fast.
Yeah.
Ninja.
For
He's a
those that don't know,
ninja.
y'all have a ranch in Wyoming, and it's how many head of cattle do you have?
About 200.
Okay, nice. Let's talk about fear in horses. So I think one of my problems was this was the same
Got
time
therapy over here.
that Superman. Yeah, we're going way back. This is some trauma.
This is
Help me
trauma.
dig it out, guys. I got to get past this because it's a long time ago. It was when Superman, Christopher Reeve,
Oh,
had just
yeah.
simply fallen off a horse and broke his
Yeah.
freaking neck.
Yeah.
How likely is that?
I mean,
It's not like a
it can
surfer
happen.
getting bit by a shark.
Yeah,
You don't really have to kind of worry about it.
I've seen some pretty bad
Or-
wrecks where people just stand up and walk away. Like I haven't bucked off. You would be amazed at how resilient people are after they hit the ground. But that being said, sometimes a very benign wreck can cause. I mean, you just land wrong. So it is always a risk. And sometimes I think about it. Like I'll be up there, and your imagination is.
I
'cause
What do you
No,
think about? Where do you go? Do you?
I
She think
thought
about
it right after our first child was born.
yeah,
Because she was riding colts at that time,
yeah.
Yeah.
training them, and
Yeah.
wasn't that big a deal. And then all of a sudden we have our first kid
Yeah.
who's sitting in a car seat right outside the arena, and she's like,
Yeah.
well, and I'm not there, I'm at work.
Yeah.
So what happens if she falls off and gets hurt and can't
And
reach the
who's-
kid? Or
yeah.
Did it
whatever,
cripple you, or did it?
I mean, no,
you
I
just
haven't-
have those thoughts.
It has never crippled me, but like even now I have a colt. I just have one colt that's mine. And sometimes he gets silly because he's a baby, and he'll buck a little bit or he'll rear a little bit. And I have to talk myself through it. Because he is so sensitive, so I've made him sensitive, that if I go like this, he goes like this.
Yeah, he's like, ooh.
And then he gets more like that. And I can literally create a problem. And that's what a lot of people don't realize. Oh, my horse bucked me off. Stupid horse. I'm like, no, you set that up
right.
to happen. I'm sorry. I mean, that people don't want to hear that. That
No,
kind of
they don't.
stings. Like, I didn't cause that. Yeah, you did actually cause that. And so any problem I've had with that horse was generally my subconscious, my body was creating that. So I've gotten help with them, and it's helped a ton. And it is a mental game though. With anything, I mean, I think most things we do in life are mental games, but horses are, a little bit
There's
different.
risks
Little risk.
in everything we do. I mean,
Yeah.
you could get hurt on a trampoline, or you could get
Yeah.
hurt walking
Yeah.
across the street and slip
Driving
on a
down the
piece of ice
street.
and fall and break your neck, or, I mean, it's,
Mm.
you just kind of have to just wrestle with it from a standpoint of, I literally,
Yeah.
you could literally get hurt doing anything. I
What
mean,
was the last time you guys were scared?
From
First
like a
thing that comes to
ranching
your thought.
standpoint,
Maybe it
or-
doesn't even have to be the
Yeah.
last time, but maybe the
A
most
time we
memorable.
were scared.
from like a ranching standpoint or something like
It,
that.
it can be anything.
Anything.
I mean, we were scared to death to go on the Great American Farm Tour.
Yeah.
It could be anything.
Oh. I was scared by the soda fountain. That's a little different type of fear.
Okay, so you started this
that's good.
business
Yeah.
in the soda fountain. It's a financial type of fear.
Yeah. Like,
Okay.
is
It's
this
like a-
right? Is this wrong? Are we going to fall on our face? Is everyone going to see us fall on
Okay.
our face?
That doesn't scare you so much, Christian. He's kind of like.
I didn't have the
nodding.
financial side of it more. It was more, can we fix everything in here that needs fixed? It's a 100-year-old building that hasn't had anything done to it in a long time. So can we make all those repairs?
When you signed on to the soda fountain, which is not a business you guys are typically doing. I mean, you came from the blogging space. We'll get to that in a little bit, but that was scary.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
scary signing that. Did you take on debt for it? Or were you able to pay cash?
No, we paid cash.
But you would
Cash.
lose
But
that cash.
Yeah, it was a big chunk of cash.
And you might, and probably getting it started, you're putting more cash into it
Yes.
until it finally evens out and then
Hemorrhaging.
hopefully pays you
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
Well,
And especially when you
So-
look at it from the outside, and everyone told us this has also exacerbated it. Like, it looked ridiculously crazy, like insanity level, because the building is ugly as sin, like falling apart. The food is horrendous. There is no kitchen. It's in a town.
There was no
There is
kitchen
no kitchen.
in a
There was no
restaurant.
kitchen. Yeah, there was
You
no.
bought a restaurant.
What were they
bought a
doing?
restaurant
Yeah.
kitchen.
they had hot plates.
They had George Foreman
George
and
Foreman's
microwaves.
and air fryers or fry daddies. It was all residential cooking.
Or and then in the
cooking
summer they would
equipment.
cook on a regular barbecue outside, So they would run outside, flip a burger, run back in, run back out, flip a burger.
Okay.
So, I mean, it looked ridiculous. Like, it didn't have a great reputation. It's a town of 200 people where, like, there's no population in it, not a lot of employee base. So we knew in our gut we were supposed to do it. But to anyone outward, it looked like we were cutting our own throats. And everyone made sure to let us know that that's what they thought of that. So that didn't help. As we're already battling our internal voices, you know, that was just like a test of.
If
We
you
had a
guys
friend say, so, because we started, you know, we didn't come from a ranching background
right,
either.
right.
We weren't born.
Oh, you
in-
didn't?
No, I was born in right smack dab middle of the city.
Really?
So,
you?
yeah,
You were a
and
city sickler,
Yeah.
Wyoming.
Yeah, and so was she.
Wow.
and
Yeah, I was
so-
You were not a cowboy.
No,
no,
neither
it
one of
just
us
always
came from
had
that.
this dream of this is where I want to go
What?
and this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
So I had this friend say, so you're not losing enough money in ranching, you know, because obviously ranching's not really known for making a lot of money. So he's
Not
Are you
like,
losing
making money in
enough
ranching?
so well, we're getting to that point,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
by
All right.
by retaining ownership of everything. But you know, so anyway, he's like, so you're not losing enough money in ranching. You decided to go buy a restaurant too, huh?
What'd you say to him?
I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And then everyone has to share. Well, my brother bought a restaurant and it bankrupted him. My sister-in-law bought a restaurant and it ruined her life. And we're like, thank you, Bob, for all of your help and
And
encouragement.
weren't you buying a restaurant in 2020?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we also did that.
Okay, so if you guys
Yeah.
hadn't bought if you hadn't bought the soda fountain, what would have happened to it? Do you
I mean,
know?
right now it'd still be running, but
Yeah.
it was
It
an
would-
elderly
It's
couple
George
that
Foreman
owned
burger.
it, and I mean, as much as they did a lot for the business. They owned it
Right.
for 12
Yeah.
years. I mean, it'd been there for 100 years, so they'd owned it for a long. Or they'd only owned it for 12 years, but they had done quite a bit to bring it to where it was. But still,
A George Foreman grill, though?
yeah, I was
mean,
going to say
come
they
on.
only had a certain amount of time before
Yeah.
the health
Yes.
department comes in and says, "Listen, you either
Even in Wyoming.
Even in
you
Wyoming.
dump a tremendous amount of money in this building
Yeah.
to build a commercial kitchen,
Or
or you're
shut
gonna have to
down.
Yes.
So what I'm getting at with this is how did you face that fear? How did you get over that? Because you're afraid, but you still
Yeah.
did it.
I kind of just like the fear of. I
Ah.
mean, I had a coach tell me one time. He says anxiety means go,
Wow.
because there's a lot of time. I
Yeah.
mean, even before, you know, I might get
Wow.
anxious about something. It just like cause you to freeze up a little bit, you know. And you're like,
Yeah,
I
it
can't
does.
move, I can't
Paralysis.
take
Yeah,
action. You're like,
total.
I'm scared of my shadow or whatever, and so that's always stuck with me. And that's just how I am. That's my energy. I'm like, let's go. I mean, if we're gonna fail,
If it
we're gonna
gives me
fail. But let's go.
anxiety, that means we're
and there's a
supposed to
difference.
do
Like
it.
Yeah.
people ask me that. I feel like you know in your gut the difference. Like there's like when the kind of maybe trepidation you feel when you're not sure if you should pick up a hitchhiker on the side of the road.
No.
That's a different type of fear
So do
than
you pick them up,
like-
Christian?
no.
But I am on the fire department, and I go
Yeah.
out to a lot of wrecks where you're like,
You-
Okay.
Yeah.
whoa.
But there's just it's just different. Like you know when it's something you want to do, but you're just like you feel the wall of
Okay.
fear. You know that.
Oh.
There's a
So
difference.
maybe you're
Difference.
facing fears to do something good, smart,
Yeah.
even though maybe it's fearful. Although maybe pitching up a hitchhiker might be good thing to
It
do.
could. I
don't
mean,
know.
it could,
But
but
it,
It could also go really
it could
wrong.
go really wrong.
yeah.
Do you have a
I
lot
mean,
of
you can't
hitchhikers
drive
in
around.
Wyoming?
Every once in a while.
Yeah, we have
It's
some.
kind of cold for them.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Like,
Depends on
I
time
don't
of
think
year.
you guys probably have a large homeless
don't-
population over there.
No, they
You
go other
don't drive
places.
around. You don't go 120 because you'd be afraid. That would be kind of stupid.
I guess what I ask myself
how
is
do you-
if I don't do this, will I regret it? Like, what will
Oh.
I always, like with the soda fountain, when I was like, well, if we didn't do this, my life would just go on its same little path and it would be really
Really?
easy. But I would always wonder, because I've had my eye on that soda fountain for 4 years. I would always wonder, what if I'd done it? What would have happened?
Has it been for sale
You've
for
been
4 years?
you've been
No.
thinking about
Okay.
it for how
I've
long?
driven by it
You've
for
just
4 or
seen
5.
it.
I've
And you would regret it
fantasized.
that you hadn't already
yeah,
done it.
I would have regretted it. I think I would have totally regretted it. Same with horses.
So-
Okay, so I get scared on a horse.
You
So
get
let's say
scared?
sometimes I get scared on a horse.
Sometimes.
Yeah. If I go, okay, well, I'm going to give into this and just like done,
Let it do.
I would hugely regret that. That would be a huge point in my life. And then if I let that
Really?
fear get a foothold, that's going to have more power over me on the next thing. So I guess for me, it's balancing regret versus pushing through it.
And I guess the first thing I would say is, well, what are you afraid of?
Yeah. Like,
What's
let's
that
flesh
fear?
that
What is
out.
that fear rooted in? You know, and try to work through those things before you sign on the dotted line.
Did you
and
guys
go.
work through some of those things before you signed for that building?
Yeah, I would say
Yeah,
we had
we
some
did.
conversation because truly we had some conversations about that building many years before we ever even got to the point where because I was pretty much adamantly against it 5
I was
years
going to
ago.
say,
This is
how
a-
did this
for
go?
the-
How
for
did the
the folks-
conversation go down?
For folks that don't know, this is an old building in this little town
Yeah.
in Wyoming. It's
Wyoming.
run down.
So Jill
soda
comes
fountain.
to Christian and says, I want to buy the soda fountain.
Yeah.
And Christian says, are you crazy?
No.
How
Absolutely
many
not.
years did you shut it down?
Well, I mean, we never had the opportunity to buy it, so
Okay.
it was more or less her
Yeah.
Oh, well,
vision
I would
board.
love to do
Yeah,
this.
it was on her
Yes.
vision board, and it was literally, I mean, physically on her vision board. But I'm like, yeah, it's never going to happen. Number one, and we're never going to do it. Number two, because it just needs to be pushed into the ground and started over. You know, I'm like, it'd take way too much money to fix that place up. And then she says one day, hey, we should buy the soda fountain. I'm like, great, why don't you call him? Because it wasn't actually listed.
You said, great, why don't you call him?
Well, I
What
was
mo-
more or less
He was
joking.
trying
I'm
to
like,
I was going to say,
Great.
what changed your
why don't you call him and see? And she's like, no, why don't you call him?
Did you?
Because that's how we roll.
She don't like to
do.
call.
She
I
didn't
don't
want
like
to
to call
call.
it. Yeah.
You know, you're not a phone
I don't.
person.
I hate phones. I hate phones.
But now once he gets on the phone, will you get on it?
Yeah.
Once he gets him
No.
on the line, do you
I
then
mean,
jump
yeah.
in
Then
and
I
take
was
over?
like, I came to meetings with him and stuff. It's not like I don't mind.
That's how I do.
just
Oh.
break. I need someone
He
else
gets-
to break the ice.
he
She
gets
won't
on-
call. She won't call. But as
Yeah.
soon as they say hello, she's like, give me a phone.
Yeah. I know what you're
She's
saying.
got to take over.
Yeah, no, she don't
I
like
know,
that.
because I
But
have
I
all the
literally seriously
information.
have to get him on the phone.
Yeah.
I know,
Yeah.
so
And get
he'll-
the intro over.
Yeah.
He does.
And
And
then
then,
she's
Yeah, the
jumping
ice
right.
breaking. You gotta get the ice.
yeah, I have a hard time with the phone. I struggle with
Yeah.
it immensely.
Be
Even
like, can I-
texting, sometimes I
Yeah.
have a hard time.
So you get on the phone.
I actually called because I called when she wasn't around
Yeah.
because just the anxiety of that sometimes is too much for her.
Wait, were you guys gonna do this for nostalgia, hobby, or were you actually? Are you actually
Well,
trying to make money?
Everything we do, we make sure people are like, you have a lot of toys on a phone. I'm like, it's more strategic than you think. Like
Okay.
we're doing things with an asset in mind, or maybe we knew that a restaurant's not going to make you a millionaire in the first year,
Right.
but we're like, this could be a place that would house our money, real estate. That's you put your money and kind of keep it safe from inflation. Plus, we felt both really called to the community. Like, how can we support this community? And that was like, well, what if we try this route? Because we know business, so this is using our giftings to help the
Well,
community.
and the soda fountain is a community
yeah, it's
relic. I mean,
yeah,
it's
for
there.
sure.
It's I don't want to say necessity, but it is a cornerstone of
It
of your
is.
community.
Yeah, and people
It's
depend
probably
on it. Yeah.
Chugwater's most cherished asset, really.
Yeah.
I mean, it's-
Wow. And the wingers.
Wow.
And we're not locals, so that's been interesting too.
Oh, I didn't think about
Yeah,
that.
we're not born and raised there. He grew up 45 minutes away. I grew up 1,200 miles away. But we're not born and raised, so that's been interesting too. To have people, I feel like, were nervous that they were entrusting this cornerstone, like you said, of the community to two kids who were not from there.
Yeah, but you guys have lived there for like over 10 years. I mean, I
Yeah.
feel like
I mean, we
at
have
some
good
point you are
relationships.
part of the community.
Yeah,
We had a
yeah.
But I guess
relationship.
you
We had
weren't
rela-
born there.
We weren't
so
born there.
how like the majority of people in Chugwater then are like from Chugwater.
There's quite a few with
Not a lot of people are moving to Chug.
no, not. I mean, there's a few transplants, but there's definitely more great grandpa Homestead here. So here I am, like that
Okay.
kind of dynamic. Yeah.
So you mentioned earlier you say to follow your gut.
Mm-hmm.
So your gut clearly tells you not to pick up the homeless man
Mm-hmm.
as you're driving home from North Carolina to Wyoming.
Yeah.
You're not picking anybody up.
I know.
The gut has already
Sorry.
decided.
Sorry,
Yeah.
all the people
Yeah.
who were
Yeah.
trying to get a ride with them.
But the gut did say, what we're really trying to dig in here is how did we tell between what the gut's saying and this is a healthy and okay fear that I need to push through?
Yeah.
What's the gut sound like to you?
To me, it's excitement and yeah, excitement. It's you just know, I feel that's so ethereal and so not helpful. But there's just
Okay.
there's things I've done, and I feel like the more you listen to your gut, because people ask me about this. The more you listen, the more in tune you get.
Yes.
The first thing I ever did, I listened to my gut because I was not trained to do this. I was raised the opposite, that you actually don't believe your heart, you don't follow your heart, you don't listen to your gut. So the first time I ever did this was moving to Wyoming to go to the college and train horses for a living. 1,200 miles away, I was a shy homeschool girl, and I just knew I was supposed to do this. And everyone tried to talk me out of it. They're like, you can't make a career in horses. Why are you moving so far away? Just stay here. But it was almost like not an out-of-body experience, but almost. Like I just did it. I'm just like, okay, I'm doing it. And then once I like that was a good choice.
Yeah.
That was what I was supposed to do. And I just I've always listened to that. And that's what, starting the blog and buying the homestead, the property we did, and now the soda fountain, starting the businesses. It's always led us down the right path.
Mm. What was you said you weren't raised to follow your gut. What was wrong with following your gut?
So I was raised in a super strict religious sect. And
Christians over here.
Good. I want to get into Christians.
This went from a 2-hour podcast to a 4-hour podcast.
I want to let her finish her sentence, but we're definitely going to address that. For those listening, you didn't see Christians look. Like, here we go.
I mean, it's really common in those belief systems that you're taught, you know, your heart is deceitful above all things. So don't listen to it. Don't follow that. Like, you should always basically, in essence, and I understand why they teach what they teach. I'm not naive enough to think that it was an accident. But they teach you to look to your authority figures, which are usually people within the church, right? Who are they claim to be speaking for God. So that's a whole topic, you know, very extensive. But I was raised like literally listening to your gut is wrong. So it's been a whole coming out process of like paying attention to that and teaching myself it's okay and that it is valid. And I think that's how God speaks to us, is through, you know, those pieces. But
that verse you quoted, the heart is deceitful above all things, isn't it talking about like sin?
I think so.
But it sounds like maybe it was getting a little further.
There was a little bit of
it's talking about
manipulation,
not going after sin. It's not necessarily a sin to go buy. It's not a sin. It's not a sin to go buy a soda fountain.
Or to move to Wyoming.
Right.
But somehow it got
horses.
transferred over time.
Yes.
To include more of the gut feeling, to cancel all the gut feelings.
Yes.
Very interesting.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's taken out of context, I believe. I think the verse is great. I think it's been abused.
And it's easier to control somebody or manipulate somebody if you train them to not listen to what
they think is right.
Which is
that's
why
very
I roll my eyes.
So I mean, I grew up in a religious context, but you're definitely different than you.
Yes.
I mean, like, you know, I felt like I knew that about you, but then
it's taken me a long time to identify those pieces, but it's been very interesting to be able to, you know, now pull myself back and look at it from outside looking in and go, oh wow, that was more of a thing than I thought. Like makes sense now. So
I would say that the people who would call on that verse, the heart is deceitful, might also be the people that would say, when you have this transformation experience, you get a new heart.
Yes.
So then the heart wouldn't be deceitful
I always
anymore.
wondered that, because I'm like, well, I supposedly was, you know, with a born again experience. So how does that? I always used to think, well, I guess, you know, there's things you learn not to question, right?
Yeah.
Don't question, just roll.
Well, that's also part of it.
That's also part of it. Just don't question.
Don't question.
Don't think too hard. It's fine. Just go.
We're telling you the truth.
Yes.
When you said you learn not to question, I just have to go here. We're gonna have to back up to a lot of things here. But to question, well, then when did you first question?
I was like, I think I was like 25 or 26.
And what was the cause?
I had started feeling disillusioned with the church for a while, just like feeling like there's something missing. And I was doing all the things, even after we got married, we were checking off all the boxes like good people are supposed to do. And it just felt so empty. And it was almost as we started to kind of do some more personal development and kind of figure more things out. Like it's not like we ran away from the church and just went right over here to this personal development, because people like to say that happens, right? Like they blame it on that. But it was like, this just felt so dead over here. And I kept going, why does it feel dead? What's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? There's something wrong with me. I'm not spiritual enough. I'm not reading my Bible enough. I'm not doing the right things. I'm not checking enough boxes off. It just felt so dead. And finally, it was me in a roundabout way learning to acknowledge that, no, I think it is there's pieces of it that are pretty dead. And I'm not saying that's true for everyone, but for us, in our situation, it just, there was nothing there.
That was when you were 25 years old?
Yeah.
What you said? How old are you?
36.
Okay, so
You're
9-ish years ago. You are.
Yeah.
So
maybe.
did that was that coincide with your homestead journey? And questioning conventional food and stuff like that?
I think I've said before, the homestead is where it all, you question one thing, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's right.
The government says I shouldn't have raw milk, but I actually think I do want to have raw milk.
Right.
So I'm going to push back against that. And that, I was a rule follower, because very much a rule follower,
I was
trained,
too.
queen of the rule followers, firstborn,
Queen
like,
That's why y'all are
yes.
such good friends.
yeah,
Queen.
queen. And I prided myself. And so when I started the homesteading, I was like, my mantra was Jill is a rule follower. And then you go over with homesteading, you can't rule follow anymore. And so I started to go, well, maybe this feels real good. I like this. This is
what
right.
felt good? Breaking a rule?
Breaking the rule, like raw milk.
What was the rule? That was your first rule?
Like raw milk, and I'm going to grow my food, and I'm going to compost things, and I'm going to like start not eating, ramen noodles every day.
Christian's nodding his head now.
Okay,
And
so when you were a queen rule follower, like there's the arrows in the parking lot. Did you always follow?
I would. Okay, I don't know if I would have gone like the arrows in the grocery
Yeah,
stores
she
these
was.
She's
days.
the
I
ultimate
probably
queen.
maybe.
She's the ultimate queen.
I break
Yeah.
that. I'm
You
like,
would break that one. See, back then I
can't
probably
handle
wouldn't
it.
have
Oh, you
broke
do?
that. Like back then.
Do you speed? Did you speed?
No, not then.
Oh, she might
I
have
was
you
like
back.
super like.
I know. I sped, even though I was a queen rule follower. Like I have a hard time also with the arrows in the parking lot. I'm like,
Yeah,
I really need to go
probably-
over there,
yeah.
and this is the best way. So I'm just gonna do it.
Yeah.
but it's not right.
I
you
might
know.
have like fudged that a little bit, but
yeah,
yeah.
that's
So,
hilarious.
you're starting to, we're backing up in here in
Yeah.
your life. It's good. You're starting to question the conventional milk. You're replacing it maybe with organic or wanting to grow
Yeah.
your own. And
And then the medicine, right?
yeah,
that's what
'Cause I
was
always
next for you?
been-
What was
yeah,
next?
like
Natural
because it was
medicines
always my mom would just take us to the doctor. We had antibiotics all the time, and
Yeah.
you follow the rules of FDA and all that. And so then I started to go, well, if I'm eating all this good food, but I don't want to take my baby to the doctor to get antibiotics. And so you read those blogs and those books, and they start to kind of weave in. So we started looking at herbs, and that's what we got into essential oils. So I was questioning all those things and realizing, I guess the biggest thing was life is not as black and white as I thought.
right.
And there's gray. That was the biggest lesson of that decade is there's gray, and gray is okay. It's okay to sit in the gray. So then the next thing it led to, well, what about the system of the church? Like, what am I sitting in that was, because I was super black and white.
And the thing is
Yeah.
those systems and organizations don't want you to believe that there's a gray area. Everything is black and white.
Yeah.
Ah.
Everything is black and white. You're either here or you're here. There is no middle ground. You either follow the
Yeah.
rules or you don't follow the rules. You're either a center or you're not a center. I mean, it's
Ah.
until you start having the freedom to ask those questions that you realize, you know what, there's no clear answer to this. There's no way I can pick a black camp or a white camp. I'm somewhere in the middle here.
Yeah.
Well, where were you during all this? Were you a normal person?
I would say I was not the rule follower
never
that she
a rule
came
follower.
from.
Yeah.
You weren't following rules, but were you normal?
Yeah, I was.
You were going with the society.
No, I wasn't that. I mean, even from the time I was like 6 or 7, I could see these different organizations in the world that I just didn't want to be a part of.
But he still was eating
Like-
like normal food and
Oh, for
going
sure.
to,
I
and having
wasn't-
normal pharmaceuticals like that. He
Yeah,
hadn't
I-
started to question.
I hadn't
that
gone
kind of
down
stuff.
So when y'all
road
got
yet.
together, y'all were pretty normal.
We were very normal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Other than we didn't want an HOA. That was our biggest, not Homesteaders of America for everybody. We didn't want a homeowners association.
Right.
Yeah.
That was
we
our
had
biggest
this
thing.
vision, or I had this vision of
Okay.
you grow up, you go to college, you get a degree, you get a job, you get married, you have kids, you get a house in town with a little white picket fence and a dog, and then
That's
you
life.
retire,
Yeah.
and then you hang out with your grandkids, and then you die.
Mm.
And I hated that from the time I was
Oh, you
like
did?
6.
Yeah.
I mean, I just hated
Did y'all
it.
talk
I'm
about
like,
that on your dates?
Oh,
We did, yeah.
we did.
We did.
You both
I mean,
hated
it
that.
was just
Yes.
like there's more to life than
Well, you
this.
were already bucking it a little bit.
We were
then.
already
I was
bucking
like,
it.
I mean, I remember literally thinking everybody in society lives in these little neighborhoods like sardines in a can. And
So you
just
all both
filed
wanted out
away.
of that.
And
Yeah, you
that's
don't
why I
live in
was like,
Wyoming to live like a sardine.
Right.
No.
Like,
But
So
we
that was
didn't
your-
know. I remember thinking, well, I don't want that, but I don't know what the alternative is.
Yeah, we
so,
didn't necessarily know the
yeah.
answer.
so you guys met at the college, right? That you went 1,200 miles. to.
Yes.
Y'all were both doing it. You were living the dream, so to speak, or the nightmare.
Yeah.
You were living the
We we
nightmare,
were doing what
and
we
you
were
were going to
supposed
college.
Yeah. Well, he was actually
I was an
working.
electrician. I was working at the college.
Oh.
We were putting a new sound system in the arena.
Okay.
And I was
And then
attending.
She was
Ooh.
going to college.
So how old are you?
I'm 40.
He's 5 years old.
Okay.
Yep.
Wait,
41.
you're almost 41. No, you're 40, almost 42.
Yeah.
It's hard to keep up when you're this old.
Once you hit 40,
I'll let you,
like,
Rebecca.
it's not
Somebody
gonna
asks you,
be
hold on,
Yeah.
like, Becky, how old am I?
Yeah.
It goes back too fast now.
Yeah,
doesn't it?
yeah.
It does.
So y'all were breaking out of the mold pretty early, just wanting to get out of suburbia. So you were already breaking some rules. in your hearts. So you get into this thing, and you're going with your gut. And don't you think, true or false, it gets easier to question things the more you question things.
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
for sure. Which is why you're not supposed to.
Yeah.
Like, I think all the systems are like, don't start. I don't care which
Oh.
system we're talking about. Don't start doing that because
It leads down
it
long
goes down.
rabbit
long
It
trail.
does. It does take you.
Yeah.
I
It
know.
does.
I'm
Society
just
today,
like,
2022. Are you
no,
rule followers?
I'm not.
No, not.
No.
But sometimes people get it confused because if someone says be here at 6 o'clock, I'm still there at 6 o'clock. Or
Yeah,
if they give me a list of things to
Oh.
bring,
Yeah.
I'd read the list because I have learned in my life things go smoother when I pay attention to details.
Yeah.
But I think that has a
But that's a different.
yeah.
That
that's
is
more
different.
how are you
Yeah.
showing up in the world?
That's
versus-
like, are you a kind person?
That's what I try. But sometimes people are like, you are a rule follower. I'm like, no. That's actually, I don't feel like that's the same category.
Yeah.
It's just me paying attention to what works well for my life when I show up on time. That works out
Yeah.
well usually.
It's better for me.
I
I'm
like
a
that
nicer
better.
person.
Yeah.
You talked about going to authority figures to make decisions. That was
Mm-hmm.
the way you were supposed to do it. You weren't supposed to question things. If it's this gray area, it feels like in your heart you feel like maybe you were supposed to consult with a older person. I had a minister tell me one time that a minister had no business consulting a businessman.
Really?
Yeah.
Because
because why?
yeah,
That they
why?
shouldn't meddle in having you make business decisions. We're not talking about moral. Is this right?
Yeah.
We're not talking about that. But he's talking about it because he was a trained minister. They go to school and they're trained as ministers.
Mm-hmm.
They're not getting trained in how to run a business.
I can respect. I think I would respect that. That it's. I don't know that.
So how would you go? What would they want? You would go to the minister and say, "Is this right that we get this soda fountain?" You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't know if they would want that sort of authority
Oh, okay.
figure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But maybe
Although
they would have so much control in
There-
your life
yeah.
that you wouldn't even think to buy the soda fountain because you're
And we-
doing all the other things that they have told you to do.
and we have had some pushback with that sort of thing with certain people. Like, tell us you have too many projects. You guys need to stop. So they're assuming all sorts of things.
Yeah.
Make sure you have time with God because you have a lot of projects. And I'm like, you have no idea how much time I have with God. Like, I'm spending time with God as I'm painting this wall and as we're gardening and like that. This is me. Like,
Yeah.
Maybe my life.
They
is
had a
an
vision of what time with
expression,
God looked like.
yeah,
And
Probably a journal and a Bible.
yeah.
and
And
they
I
want you to follow that.
they wanted us
and
to
if
follow
you don't
that.
follow that, then you're not
Yeah.
doing the right thing.
I
Very
read a
interesting.
quote the other day. I think it was from Ann Voskamp. I don't read a lot of her stuff, but this one stuck out, and it says, "Let your work be your worship." And I'm like, literally, that is how I feel when even when I'm flipping burgers. I feel joyful doing that because we are in our
Flipping
we're
burgers.
literally,
just flip.
yeah. And like, there's times it's stressful and times I'm grumpy, whatever. But like for the most part, what we do, we love. We love the projects, we love the
Yeah.
demo, we love the painting and the growing and the building. Like that is what I am put on this earth and what we're called to do. And it feel like we are in alignment with God when we're doing that. And I can say that with full certainty. So that's when people like certain authorities come through and you should do this and don't do that and you need to slow down. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Before that would have rattled me, and now I'm like, no.
I like that we're sitting here in this. We're kind of sit here in this gray area for a minute. So, because I think for the people listening, we're talking about going with our gut and knowing when to face fears. Well, there's going to be maybe some stigmas in our life.
Oh, yeah.
And it might be coming from spiritual or our parents that maybe we need to address. That might be where some of the fear is coming from.
Yeah.
I mean, it might not be something where you have to consult the elder at the church, but still you have this residual of don't question the norm.
Yes.
And that might be an artificial feel that you don't need to necessarily feel going into this.
I think
business
sometimes
investment.
it can be you need to get out of your head and get into your heart because we can overthink things, we can worry about things, we can stress about things. You know, we can let our mind overpower what we want or try to, talk us out of what our heart really wants and what our heart's really trying to tell us. Hey, this is what you need to be doing. I mean, that was one of the conversations we had with the soda fountain because we looked at the soda fountain and said, listen, this may not be the most financially savvy, powerful move that we could make with this chunk of money. There's probably a lot of other areas that we could put this money and get a return on our investment faster. But at the same time, our heart was going, this is just as much of an investment into the community as it is from a business standpoint. And this community is where we want to build. This is what we want to support, you know.
So our heart, you said our heart. When did your heart change? You weren't doing this. You made the phone call.
Yeah, I don't know when
Because
my
you're a
heart
good
changed
husband.
exactly. Because
Listen to him talking
Yeah, I
our
know.
heart. How
And
does that
then-
make you feel, Jill?
probably
Good.
Put his
more,
heart
It's
into
good.
it.
I know.
probably
Yeah.
more from a community standpoint. Was
Yeah.
is like I want to support the community, and I just knew it was going to take a lot of work. You know, it's going to take a lot of money. It's going to take a lot of work, and so I don't know. It's an interesting.
And then I remember, like last year at this time, we had agreed to do it verbally, but we still were waiting on all the insurance. There was a lot of red tape we were
This was
sorting
2020 or 2021?
2021.
Okay.
So we were like committed-ish. We could have still backed out if we wanted to. And he was like, go, let's do it. And I was like, wait a
Then she
second.
started getting
This
scared.
is actually real. Like this, what if this happens or what if? So then he talked me through that, and then we were both on board again. So
Okay.
we kind of pull each other up when one starts to freak out sometimes. Sometimes we both freak
I
out and
don't
then
know
it's
if
real
that's a good
bad.
thing. but
What would have happened if you wouldn't have got on the phone call for her? Would you have gotten
I wouldn't have
irate,
got
Jill?
no,
No, I had tried. So to my benefit, I did call the store a few times, but I couldn't
Okay.
get a hold of the owner. And then I was like, and I got distracted, right? Because I've got a lot of other things to think about. So then he kind of picked up the torch. So I
mean,
don't
it's
know.
it's amazing that you didn't want to do that, but you did that for your wife. Way to go, Garden of Peace.
Maybe it would get me some brownie points.
Yeah, get you some brownie points.
Hey, I made this phone call.
Hey, honey.
Hey, we just bought a restaurant. I hope you
So
really
that
wanted
restaurant
it.
you were talking about, I already bought it.
Honey.
Because
Yeah,
it wasn't even
uh,
for sale. It wasn't
Yeah.
listed. You know, it was just we'd heard it through kind of
The grapevine.
the grapevine that maybe she was going to sell it. And
Yeah.
And it was when you called her.
well, when I called her and asked, "Hey, I heard through the grapevine that you might be selling this place. Is that true?" There was this long silence on the phone, and I was like, And then she's like, "Yeah, actually, we are thinking about selling it."
Aw. What was the silence? She sad?
I think she was sad. They didn't want to sell it, but her health was kind of starting to get to a point where it was hard for her to
And
work.
they're
What
local chug water ins.
they're local.
Yeah.
They live right
What
there.
do they
in
think of
town.
it now?
We've made a lot of
You actually
changes.
put a
Yeah.
kitchen in. All right, we've taken a quick break, but we're back now, and we've got little baby Henry. Jonah's got to do the chores, so you'll probably hopefully hear a lot of cooing in the background.
No crying.
What was my question to you guys? Oh, how'd the
owners?
oh yeah, are they okay with this change?
We haven't talked to them like point blank about it. I think it's been hard for some people in the town. Change is hard for people. Humans
Right.
just don't like any change. So that has
But
been
even
a
though it's
challenge.
like amazing change, like
Even
from what
s-
I've
even
seen,
that.
I follow you guys on Instagram.
Even that. And
I
we have
follow the soda fountain.
we have our friends in town who have said, "You guys, this is amazing." Like we've had that validation, and we know we're on the right track. I mean, it looks good, it feels good, it's clean, it's bright. But I know some have told us point blank to our face. Some people have said other ways that they don't like it, and it's just different. It was not.
And that's okay.
It's okay.
There's
Yeah.
not
Right.
everybody's going to like what we
Right,
do or
yeah,
what anybody
exactly.
does for that.
When
matter,
they
but-
tell you to your face, is it ugly?
Not usually
mean,
ugly, but
Yeah, I don't know that they say it's necessarily ugly, but
Yeah.
they say they're disappointed.
that
you know,
which is
Whoa, they'll
hard.
say that
Like,
to your
and
face.
for some reason. Like a lady said last week verbatim, "I am disappointed," and the word disappointed really is hard for me because I think it goes back to the rule follower.
Yeah.
I'm just like,
you don't want to disappoint
That's your
anyone.
problem. That's
that
what it
bothers
is. You don't
me.
want to disappoint.
I don't want
anybody.
to. I'm like, I don't want to disappoint you. Like, and she's old enough to be my mom, so I'm like, wait, I disappointed.
Now I've
I
disappointed this
an
person
elder
who's-
who's
yeah.
like, I should be earning their respect. And yeah.
What was
so
the
anyway,
disappointment? What was the complaint?
they
I
didn't
think
like
her
the
initial
floor.
reaction was, "We've taken everything out of the building and all the character and all the charm." And the reality is we haven't put anything back in the building.
We're
we
not
had to take
done
everything
yet.
out to do the floor
Yeah.
and to paint the walls and to fix a bunch of stuff, And so we're just in the process of getting everything put back together and built.
You're not taking everything.
No.
Oh, no.
Like
I
we
mean,
have.
Things back in.
There's a
But, I mean,
tremendous
yeah,
amount
but
of
you
history.
needed a kitchen.
We had to have.
I mean, you
those
took
there.
the George Foreman grill out.
Those are gone. They are not coming back.
And you put
Not
in
even
a
his
very
backup.
nice kitchen. I mean, I've seen it
Yeah.
on Instagram,
Yeah.
and I saw the bathroom was really nicely done. I mean, these are all kitchen, bathroom, a new floor. It's painted beautifully. Like, I don't know. I'm very proud of you
Thank you.
guys.
Thank you.
So are you making money?
No.
Why'd you look to him? Why'd you look to him? Who's
Letting
The
counting?
money guy.
Who's counting the numbers?
She does not do money.
I don't do the money. I just
don't do
make
the
I
money
make
either.
the money, but I don't count the money.
Okay.
Right
So-
now is our slowest time of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
traditionally,
it's
the
like
business
winter.
lost money from a book standpoint.
Okay.
The business lost money during this time of the year anyway. And so we knew that going into this,
Yeah.
but we also knew it from a standpoint of this is when we want to do the remodel and this is when we want to do our shutdowns because it's slow.
Yeah.
And we've done zero marketing. Like this
Really?
might be the
Yeah.
most attention. This podcast
Yeah.
might be the most attention
Wow.
the Chugwater Soda Fountain has gotten because we haven't pushed it at all because we wanted to
Because you
wait.
want to get it
Yeah, we
done.
want it done.
Well, of course.
When's it going to
yeah.
be done?
We've probably
The
got
spring.
another month or
Yeah.
so of screwing around in
Is
there.
that the vision that your fans would come to
Oh, yeah.
Chugwater?
And they've already started. Like,
They've already started.
bless their hearts, they have showed up, and it's been so sweet, and they've been
Aw.
so kind and so complimentary, and
We've
so
got a lot
that's
of
been
people.
really fun.
Are
Even
they
though
going to sell your book? Are you going to sell your
we have been
cookbook?
selling the book,
That's
yeah,
so
Oh,
yeah.
fun.
So
good.
it's
I love
super
it.
fun. That's been a fun.
That's so.
bonus.
I honestly, y'all have inspired me. I want to own a
You
restaurant.
should totally own
But
a
I'm
restaurant.
like,
Yeah.
but like at the
There's
same
a-
time, I don't want to own a restaurant.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
I get it.
Like, but you guys, like when you talked about buying the soda fountain, like when you first announced it, I was like, this is so cool. I was like, I have to talk to Jill, find out like what is going
Yeah,
on.
when she did that, we started looking at this place 4 miles away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This old store. I would have to do it. I don't know if y'all are really bold or brave. I feel like I'd have to get to a place in my life where I feel like this could be okay if it didn't make money. I would have to
Yes.
be. It would have to be nostalgic.
We were there.
We were there.
We were
Okay.
there.
Yeah.
So if this did tank, y'all
mean,
are gonna be okay.
I
We would be
looked at
fine.
it from a standpoint of
Okay.
it may not make us money, but it won't necessarily lose us money. It's
Right.
still real
It's
estate.
gonna
we
do
still
that good
own
at
the building.
least.
We
Yeah.
still own the assets. We
Yeah.
still own all that stuff. And so, you know, it was. But at the same time, you would have to understand our location and I-25 and
Yeah.
Chugwater. It has a tremendous amount of potential.
Do you have a sign
so-
on the highway?
We don't
Not
even
yet.
have that yet.
Yeah.
We
Can
will.
that happen though?
It
Oh, yeah.
can. And
Oh, cool.
up
It will
till
happen.
up till now, it was so busy with the previous owner with the tourist traffic off I-25
Really?
without a sign, she couldn't keep up
Wow.
because we said, "Why don't you have a billboard?" And she's like, "I can't."
But it's the
Okay.
George
More
Foreman
business.
So
Grill's
this
holding her
was-
back.
Right.
Yeah,
y'all.
Right.
So
She
Yeah.
could
y'all
keep
will
up.
at least. You're not
You
gonna lose
guys
your
are
shirts on
totally gonna. It's
Yeah.
gonna be amazing. Okay, but what I was saying is, I loved how you guys were like, "Well, we want to do this for the community," and I was like, "Oh, that's good."
this. Yeah. I'll
I
tell you
liked
what
that.
happened.
I really liked that.
Yeah.
It
You guys
inspired
said
you.
this,
Yeah.
and there's this little store. It's called now. It was Hooper's Creek Grocery for a while, but before that, it was Catherine's. It was called Catherine's, and only the super locals know it, and nobody's from North Carolina.
No, well,
Everybody
a
moves
lot
to
of
North
people are
Carolina.
moving here.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
you're from North
There
Carolina.
was a time we would ride our bikes down to Catherine's. I
Yeah.
mean, we on the road 3 or 4 miles as a kid. It didn't matter. It was country.
It was very different than it
was
is
the
now. There's
80s.
a lot less
It was the
houses.
80s, okay? And we were driving in the snow, and we're not used to driving in the snow, and the roads aren't taken care of.
Does
It's
anybody
not
know how to
Wyoming.
drive in the snow down here?
And
I mean-
I think we get stuck in our van, and we're about half a mile from Catherine's, and it's cold. And we walk to Catherine's, and we tell her we broke down, and I'm tearing up because of this. She gives us free hot chocolate.
Yeah.
Those days are gone. The riding on the bikes on the roads, the
Yeah,
the
there's
free
no
hot
way to that.
chocolate.
Yeah.
So my goodness, we're gonna buy this place.
Well,
and we're gonna have
we
this sign.
hope. We would like to.
30 or below, free hot chocolate for
Yeah.
everyone. That's what I'm saying. We're gonna have to get to a place where we can lose some money. It might really work well and
Yeah.
get some really high press, and
Yeah.
be this destination and experience to go out to Catherine's when
But it
it's
might
when
not.
it's 30
Yeah.
or below. That's not every day here. We're not talking Wyoming,
Yeah,
Right. That would
but
be a rare
it
event.
would
yeah.
be quite a few days.
it would be.
But
I mean,
maybe
like
they would come
this
in the
last week-
store, and this is where I'm going. Maybe they would come in the store and buy something else or get their picture taken. But I think what might happen with you guys, you dared to do this, and you're okay with it being nostalgia. But I think what's going to happen is there's going to be a blessing and even a monetary value out of it that you didn't see coming.
Yeah.
You might get more fans coming,
Yeah.
sell a bunch of books. I don't know what it's going to be.
Yeah.
But you
I'm
don't know
like,
till
we
you
have to
follow
go
your
back to
gut.
I don't
Wyoming.
know. Yeah. Yeah.
For the soda
'Cause
fountain.
Totally.
You
Yes,
might
yes,
have
you have to come
thought-
back. Yes.
Could it be fair that you might have thought you were having this soda fountain and going to serve the community, but then something bigger happens? It turns into a mercantile or we went on vacation and Grandma asked the people at this place where we're renting like the go-karts, not the go-karts, the golf carts, what's your number one seller? T-shirts. That's what they told us.
Yes.
But they got golf carts, they've got all this jet skis,
Like
they got all this cool stuff.
parasailing, like
They're
banana
selling more
boats,
t-shirts.
and they're selling
Yeah.
t-shirts.
Yeah.
Like
I'm saying you're probably going to have a surprise. Have you had any
We've already
surprises?
started to see that.
Yeah.
Our number one goal, I would say, was really for us to try to inspire other people in the community to start doing some stuff.
Ah.
in Chugwater.
In
In
Chugwater.
Has
But
anybody?
you're doing it right here in our town, you
Yeah.
know, like Justin and I are like, oh
Yeah.
man, maybe we should do this for our
I-
community.
I would love to see rural America like have a revival, and it's already
yes.
started. But I think COVID helped,
It
drive
did.
people out of the cities and see the value in these small towns. But I think there's something really special with these small American towns with the communities around them. It's just different.
All right.
But so we've had two other young
Yeah.
couples or families in Chugwater purchase the building across the street from the Chugwater
So it's happening.
It's happening.
and turning it into a mercantile.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
I love
And
that's
that.
their goal and their desire, and
Yeah. And like there'll be days.
I'm all about it. Like, yeah,
A
let's-
couple months ago, we were painting and they were working, and there was stuff on Main Street, and there's kids running up and down, and I just had like chills all day long. I
That
was
gives
just
me
like,
chills
this
right
is
now.
like
This is
thinking
unreal.
about how
That's
like
giving me
your
chills.
little community is like. Is there a little motel I could buy? That's like my dream.
Yes, there is.
There is a
There
motel.
is a
my
motel.
dream.
There
I want
is?
to buy a little
Like one of those
motel.
mom and pop motels.
Yep.
That's my dream.
Yeah.
And
Then
I
you'll have a
wanna-
place to stay when you go down there to the.
Y'all.
Was built in 1912.
What?
But it probably
does.
needs a lot of work.
It does need a lot of work. It does need a lot of
That's
work.
seriously my dream. Like Justin, because I've always said, like, I just want to buy one of those little motels,
Yeah.
like, from like the 50s. And like, it's
This is-
just like the strip
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
there's like a little like office. I mean, that's like,
It was one of the
my
first
dream.
buildings in Chugwater. It's one of the oldest buildings in Chugwater now.
I know, like, I
Yeah.
think, like, yeah, I want to do this. And then I'm like, oh my gosh.
I mean, there's-
like, the
there's work,
amount
yeah.
of, well,
Yeah.
even just like employing people.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? Like that sort of thing. And it's overwhelming. I guess that anxiety means go, Justin.
Ah.
Go, do it, do it.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of employing people,
Get out of your head and into your heart.
is that tough? Keeping people? Did
Oh, yeah.
We've had- yeah.
Yeah,
did
we
you
had
already have
challenges.
people to work with?
We already had, so we took over all the employees that were there originally,
Okay.
and we have a couple of them left.
Okay. Yeah. You expected that.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
expected that.
Do you think it's fair to say your gut doesn't always communicate to your brain? Your gut might be having you do this for a whole nother reason than you even understood.
Totally.
Has
If
that
it's not-
happened at
yeah.
all?
If it's not
Like,
my gut, then
you
it is
thought
God.
you were
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
there's-
So you thought you were getting into this to invest in this town, to hopefully make a little bit of money. Could have been another reason, gut or God.
I think it's also our way or our opportunity to invest in people.
Okay.
So, I mean, there's a lot of people that don't like having employees, and there's a lot of people that don't like dealing with employees or training employees or whatever. And honestly, it's one of my favorite things. I mean, it probably comes from being an electrician. As an electrician, we had apprentices. And so you're a full-time teacher as a
Yeah.
journeyman or as a master or as anybody who has a trade that teaches somebody else. You're a full-time teacher. And as an employer, if you're a good employer, you're also a full-time teacher. So it's my belief that it's your job to be constantly investing in those people and trying to find ways to build them up and teach them. You know, it's because sometimes that might be their best opportunity in their world to rub elbows with somebody that's outside of their normal paradigm.
Out of all these questions that you guys were asking, moving to the country, spiritual, homesteading, what was the scariest question? What was the scariest thing to question?
For me, faith was the scariest to question. because that had been the thing I had held on to, and that was like my identity. And I also, there was so much like societal and cultural pressure to not question it. Yeah. And like, there was a lot of stake for me to question. So that was the hardest for me, but probably not the hardest for you.
No, I mean, I don't know what the hardest thing for me would have been in that circle.
Did you come from a faith-based background?
No, we went to church occasionally as a kid, but it was not I've always believed in God, so to speak. I've never an atheist. I was never questioned his existence, but I just never had that relationship with the church, or, I always viewed church and religion as just a method of control. It was just another club. It was just another organization, which I generally steer clear of clubs and organizations. I don't like those things that have all these different hierarchies and elements of control and whatever. I mean, we went to church when we first started getting married, or even when we were dating, we were going to a Cowboy church. And after we got married, we went to church for many, many years. And there was always aspects of that church that I liked. I liked the fellowship. I liked seeing your neighbors and talking and catching up on going over stuff. But I didn't like we're just checking boxes to, we're doing what grandma did. And so somebody handed me this baton, and now I'm carrying the baton, and I don't really know why I'm carrying the baton. Eventually you just start to question, why am I doing this? What purpose does it serve in my life? And, I think we both got to a point professionally and personally where we're just like, how can I up-level myself? And in order for me to up-level myself, I have to question everything that I'm doing. What are my patterns? What am are these things that I'm doing beneficial for me? Not necessarily, not from a judgmental or a guilt and shame standpoint, but just, does this serve me? And I just got to the point where it wasn't as big a deal for me as it was for her.
Are you still faith-filled people?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So you felt like you were making these questions to do what did you call it?
Up-leveling.
Up-leveling. So all these questions in your mind were in a pursuit of up-leveling. Did you ever doubt any of these decisions and worry, am I down-leveling?
Yeah, I don't know that I ever had that fear. I always felt like I've always been pretty in tune, I guess, with where I was personally on the scale.
I've sensed that maybe, I can sense why maybe you did. She did. You didn't. Why did you feel like maybe I'm down leveling and not becoming better, but worse?
Because I'd been told my whole life that if you question, or if you don't go to church, or if you don't do the right things, then you are backslidden, you are lukewarm, you are, you never were saved in the first place. Like, I was told all this, so I was literally doing all those things. I had told people that. I had been that friend who was like, you didn't go to church on Sunday? Well, we need to have a talk. Yeah. Like, I was that person. So it was like a full comeuppance of like, here's a taste of your own medicine, Jill. So that was, I was like having these flashbacks of what if I think I'm doing the right thing, but what if I'm actually just one of those backsliders? People. Yeah.
You brought some light with this idea of up-leveling. Because to me, it's not, your story isn't, I'm having these doubts, I'm falling away. No, it sounds to me like you're just trying to get better and better.
Yeah.
Is that
it's
fair?
It's a shedding.
And it's very purposeful.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of exterior things maybe affecting this. We haven't talked about it at all. Has there been anything exterior affect this? Like a trial? Something somebody said, you know what I mean? Something. For a lot of people, they go through a really hard time. They lose a child or something. And of course they hate God.
There wasn't that.
But I'm not saying you hate God.
No,
I'm not saying I shouldn't.
No, but that's a great question, because that does trigger a lot. Or they go through a really horrible church split.
Yeah.
We didn't have that. And people are like, are you leaving the church because you're mad at someone?
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, we like y'all. We still want to hang out with you. We still have no issue with any of you. Like, it's totally fine. There's no hard feelings, which was hard. Sometimes people created their own hard feelings because it hurt their feelings that we left. But still, we were like, there was no big ugly anything. It just, this little tap on the shoulder, like, hey, there's something else. There's something bigger.
But I think that in of itself can be hard. And doing those hard things is really what causes you to dig deeper and question. That's how you come out with the revelations on the other side. If this process is too easy, then I don't think you're going to learn anything from it.
What are you questioning right now? Doesn't have to be faith. It could be anything. What system are you questioning right now? I'm assuming you're always questioning.
Yeah, I mean, I question every system and whether or not it's really, is it beneficial to me or is it just, who benefits from it, I guess.
I think our focus right now is just we're questioning less maybe the exterior systems at this stage and more like checking our own systems. Like, is this still right for us? Is this still right for us? Could we make this system better? Can we shed any like things that are clunky about the way we're doing this or that? Even just like talking to you about grazing this morning. Like that's a little teeny piece, but like, well, okay, we've been doing this one way for a while. Maybe it's time to actually put some effort into figuring out a better way. So just stuff like that is kind of where we're at, I think.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
What do you think you're going to question next? What are you going to be questioning in 10 years?
That's a good question.
I don't know.
Or what would you be questioning? What would you be
years.
questioning if you were more
Is
brave?
the metaverse where we should be or not? That's what we questioning.
Oh my,
in 10
yeah,
years.
yeah. We had a little talk about that. The metaverse. We maybe can bring that up. Joel Salatin's very proud that he's only got a flip phone. He'll flash it up. When we're talking about all this, getting the apps and getting on YouTube, getting the views and analytics, all that stuff. He's very proud to have stayed back with the flip phone. I feel like I'm going to be very proud to not be in the metaverse.
Same. Yep.
And now we get it. We're in our 40s and we're like, okay, we get Joel
We
now.
understand Joel.
We get it.
Because to him, the iPhone may be just as scary and weird. And
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I've always, as younger, you always look at the older folks who didn't like the telephone or didn't like the computer, didn't like, and you're like, oh, come on. But now, like, I'm like, nope, I am becoming that person. That is me now.
My granny would never drive.
Yeah.
I mean, she can remember horse and carriage. She never would drive. Yeah. My dad would never get on the email.
Yeah.
Now it's to me, I'm never going to get on Metaverse. And my kids are going to be like, Dad, that's how I make my living. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm proud for you. Yeah. I don't get it. But, that's how my dad was. He had no idea, but he was.
Yep. Yeah, your dad had no idea.
And I think that's okay as long as we understand why.
Yeah.
Why am I choosing to not do something? Why am I choosing to opt out of this versus, I think of my grandparents or whatever and, I'm not doing this because, I'm just uncomfortable with it or I'm scared of it or whatever. I don't want to do things for that reason.
Yeah.
I want to know why am I opting out of something, which is, I think really where we're at in our life right now. Anyway, we're constantly evaluating, does this serve me?
Yeah.
I didn't fly out here because right now flying doesn't serve me.
Right.
So we drove instead.
Well, last night Justin's like, that bottle fell out of the cabinet. It's not serving me.
Yeah, I'm bruised. I might have very well fractured my foot. I got enough problems in my feet.
Yeah. He's like, what do you think about being brutal?
So we're at 10 o'clock at night being brutal, cleaning out the cabinet.
Well, the reason we were up, we would have been asleep. But this one didn't take a nap in the car driving home yesterday from the event. Or he did. He took a very short nap. He got woken up by another child. And so then he took like a 3-hour nap while we were eating dinner and talking afterwards. And I just thought he was like out for the night. Well, then you know how bedtime can get a little bit crazy. Yeah. And there was some yelling and his eyes popped open and I was like, oh no.
So you were cleaning cabinets.
We spent an hour cleaning cabinets while he crawled around on the floor and, enjoyed being awake for the hour. And then we're like, you know what? We're just going to go to bed. Yeah. Turn out all the lights. Oh, hey. Sorry,
I guess
Matt.
he eventually went to sleep, didn't he? Just sitting there smiling.
He did. He did go to sleep.
So, okay, let's get back in the time machine. I tried to get you to go forward there 10 years. Let's go back. So how were you best serving people 10 years ago?
So 10 years ago.
How were you best serving the world?
So we had just started the blog. The blog was a baby 10 years ago.
What was the name of the blog for anybody?
Prairie Homestead.
It's always been the Prairie Homestead.
It's still the Prairie Homestead, although we're shifting some stuff.
Still going strong?
Yeah. I mean, it's morphed into, I kind of think of it as the hub of the wheel, and now there's all these spokes off of it, but it's still there. Yeah.
Well, you've had to shift tremendously with blogging.
Blogging is not the same. Blogging isn't dead per se, but it's definitely different. The internet's a wholly different animal than it was then.
It really is.
Yeah.
Tell me if I'm wrong, because I don't necessarily know, but blogging was, this is what I'm doing today, I'll look at this, blah, blah. Now it's more somebody's searching for how to can tomatoes.
Yeah, it's way less journal. Although I mentioned this on my talk at the workshop the other day. Substack is interesting to me. Have you?
Substack.
Do you know
never-
what Substack is?
Substack is what Slowdown Farmstead uses.
Yeah. It's old school, long
Okay.
form
Okay.
blogging, like very
But it
few
goes
pictures.
to your email address.
Goes to your email.
It's not on a website.
It is on a website
It
if
is
you
on
want
a
it to be,
website.
but most people subscribe. But
Yeah.
it's drawing
Okay.
in people. It's attractive to me.
And people
You-
are paying to get in. on the
Some can be
newsletter.
free, some can be paid.
Okay.
But it's
Yes.
old school, like long posts, eloquent, philosophical. None of this SEO, like
Yeah.
headline. It's just like how we used to blog, and I'm like, oh, it's
So you might
circling
tinker there.
back. Yeah, people are wanting long form. We've gotten so
Yeah.
short now. We're
Yeah.
down to sentences and pictures.
Yeah.
We now want some long form, which I think is good. We need that. Our brains need something to chew on.
Yeah. And I mean, there's I follow 2 people now on Substack.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if other people that I follow, because Instagram, they were on
Yes.
Instagram
Yep.
and they're just not feeling
Yep.
the Instagram machine any longer. There's censorship.
Totally.
There's, ugliness. Anybody can follow you.
Yeah.
But like with Substack, I mean, sure, anyone can follow you on Substack, but
There's a wall there.
there is. And actually, I think the one that I started following today, she said that the free and paid, the paid has a commenting feature, I believe.
Oh, okay.
So like that's a paywall.
I like that.
So
Yeah.
like the haters, they can subscribe
Yes.
and have all the feelings they want,
Have all the feelings.
but they can't
Can't express
they
those feelings
can't
unless you pay.
throw their emotional vomit onto you. So
Yeah, I think it's good. I think we've done so much to put up to take away all the barriers for our online. Right. It's all about smooth when we're doing online marketing. And I almost think sometimes breaking the rules and saying, I'm going to make this actually harder, so I make sure the people that come to me are
Yeah.
really, really committed to my
They actually
message.
want
Yeah,
to know.
Rory Feek was telling me about, and Curtis Stone has already done this. He's Rory's taken everything off of YouTube,
Yeah.
except for a little bit of stuff, and for him, it's to just serve his community.
Yeah. Yeah.
He has a heart to just serve his people, which is
he doesn't
sometimes tempting for me.
Yeah.
Because we have our own platform now. We
Yeah.
could totally do that. So there's
think
this
there's
balance
something
of
to it.
trying to serve the public and, finding these people in the first place.
Yes.
That's how we got our sweet community we
Yeah.
have. And, when do you
Yeah.
branch off into that? And
Yeah.
so you were blogging 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Were you still being an electrician, Christian?
Yep.
Was I know this, I think. You brought him home, didn't you? Eventually with
Yeah.
blogging or your entrepreneurial ventures?
Yeah, 2015. So I blogged
you-
for 5 years on the side and then went full.
You were able to bring him home as a professional blogger. Was this monetization money from ads on your site? Where was this income coming from?
We had ebooks, we had some ads, we had affiliates, but the biggest was doTERRA at that time.
Okay.
That was our biggest chunk that really, we're risk takers to a point, but we still do our
Yeah.
due diligence. We're not crazy here. So we've had,
And in all honesty, I didn't want to come home.
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't?
No.
Yeah.
That was not the plan.
No, that was not the plan. And in
You-
fact, we used to
Not
go to a lot of
originally.
doTERRA conventions, and we traveled the world with doTERRA, and we'd had a lot of doTERRA families, be like, well, how come you haven't quit your job yet? Well, I like my job. I like what I do. What am I going to do? Come home, lay on the couch? And I told her initially,
you.
Yeah.
I told her, I'm like, don't ever tell me that you're going to bring me home.
yeah.
Like, don't
Really?
ever tell
Yeah.
me that.
You guys had this conversation.
Oh, yeah.
How'd that
Yeah.
go, Jill?
I was like, well, okay. So I was like, I'll hire more babysitters, I guess. So, you're not for hire. So.
Was that weird then when when you guys made the decision for you to quit your electrician?
Oh, it was weird for me.
Yeah.
I mean, I retired, so to speak, from being an electrician to come home and build the addition on our house.
Okay.
That was really my
Once he had the purpose, he was okay.
Well,
Yeah.
you need purpose.
I have a job. I'm going to go from building the pipeline to building this addition on the house.
She might ask this. I didn't hear it because of the baby, but how'd she convince you to come home?
I mean, really, that
It was
what
the house.
It
I
was-
didn't convince her.
We
The
got
house
to the
Yeah,
point
answered
where we're
that.
like, hey, we need an
Yeah.
addition.
Okay.
Our house
Yeah.
is too small.
And
I
that's-
remember
that
when you
gave you
did
a
that on
sense-
the blog.
That gave you a sense of something to do.
Yeah.
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 Good
But
night.
for a while after that, I struggled with my identity of going,
Did you?
what am I? I mean, for years, I kept telling people I'm an electrician.
Yeah, he would.
But like,
That defines us. Everybody wants to
But you weren't
define
an
ourselves
electrician?
by
I'm
what
not an
we do
electrician
today.
anymore. I mean, I still maintain my license today, but I'm still, it's just like, it's almost like this, my security blanket of going, well, if
Well, if the
all this
soda
other
fountain.
entrepreneurship stuff fails, cool,
Yeah.
I'll still be an electrician.
And I've heard it from you over the weekend, just a number of times. You mention it. Like when you went to pick up your RV, you let that guy know I'm an electrician, and you told me that story.
And the skills come in handy. I will
So-
say that.
Yes,
Like,
it does.
we use
Yeah,
the
that's
skills
I
a
was like,
lot.
what do we need done?
That's
Yeah.
why
At
I've
our
maintained
house.
my license, obviously,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
we've remodeled houses and flipped houses and doing the restaurant and that kind of stuff. So obviously, it still is a skill that I use. But
Yeah.
for the first 2 or 3 years after I quit being an electrician full time, I struggled with.
Was he fun to be around during that time, Joe?
There was some struggles. Like it was, and then I'm kind of like, once the house was done, I'm like, cool, go figure out something to do. Like I have my purpose.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
And we knew he was not going to be a blogger. I didn't expect, he's not going to
No.
write. He's not going to do
And
photography.
he's
I
not
didn't,
going to
he's
assist
not,
you on that either. He's
and
not going to.
which was fine. I didn't expect him to, but then there was that tension of like, well, go do something. Build your own online business. And he's like, I don't want an online business. So then it was like, well, then what are you going to do? So there was that.
What'd
for
you
a
do?
while.
Started buying cows.
Are you happy?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But it's taken several years really for me to come through and figure out what am I doing and how, what is my purpose? Because, I think it's really just an element of learning to think bigger.
Yeah.
If I look back over the last 10 years, the biggest lesson I've learned is how to think bigger. If I go back 10 years, my ability to think outside of this so-called box was not very big. At one time, I would have said, yeah, I'll be an electrician for 30 years. And then
Wow.
this is what I'm going to do. And I'm never going to go outside of that and blah, blah, blah. And so I've learned how to, expand way beyond that now, obviously, but it's been a fun adventure.
So if somebody meets you on the street now, or you get talking with somebody, they say, "What do you do now? What do you? Hey Christian, what do you do? What do you tell them?"
I have a menagerie of answers.
That's a hard, that is
Isn't
the
it?
hardest.
Yeah.
It's a hard
It's
one.
the hard, like the other day,
What do you
someone
tell 'em,
asked me,
Jill?
and I was like, I literally just stared at him, and I'm like, and then I'm like, what do I say? I have an online business, and I'm like, oh, that's like the worst. It sounds like I'm like one
That
of those
sounds
people.
shady.
Entrepreneur.
Like,
You should say I'm a serial
I
entrepreneur.
should have said that because then he's like, oh, okay. I'm sure he's picturing, stay-at-home mom licking envelopes at her kitchen table. I'm like, if I just, never mind. Just think what you want to
Because
think.
it's so diverse. Because you're doing
It's
so
so
many
diverse,
different.
yeah.
things. What do you tell them? Do you tell them you're a podcaster? Do you tell them
sometimes
you
I
write
say-
blogs? Do you which one are you gonna pick? You
I've
make
said-
some YouTube videos?
I've said blogger a lot, but then I don't
You
know.
have a beef
Blogging
company,
has a
you
different
own a soda
connotation.
fountain.
You're
Yeah.
doing you're doing doTERRA.
Yeah.
What do you tell them?
I think entrepreneur is what I've settled on.
Yeah.
And then they go,
How do
oh,
they
okay.
take that?
They're like, okay.
Because they don't really want to know.
No, people
At
don't
the
really
end
want
of
to
the day,
know.
they don't.
Because if
No,
you
they
told them
don't.
all that, they're like rolling. They're like
Totally.
so bored.
They're
they
like,
don't
why
really
are they
want
telling
to
me
know.
everything that they do?
They're just
Yes.
being polite. They are trying to put you in a box, I think. We are
Yes.
trying to figure people out and put them in a box. It's
Yeah.
fair enough, isn't it? Because if you're going to spend 8 hours of your
Of your
waking day,
Yeah.
you're sleeping 8, so that's gone. So there's only another 8.
Well, I mean, you could just start
It's
saying,
pretty
I'm
much
a
who
human.
you are.
Yeah. It is, but that's how we define people in our culture.
It is.
What do you
I
do?
re-
Who are you? Based
I
on
used
your-
to just
He
not
used
know
to
how to
get
answer that,
so
and I said,
mad.
okay,
He
I'll
used to get
just
so
I'll just
frustrating.
make something up. I'll just do. It got me in trouble once because I was filming my friend's wedding,
It was my best friend's
and
wedding.
somebody came up to me and they said,
What do you?
"What do you do for a living?" I'm holding this camera, and I was very amateur at that time, and I said, "Oh, I'm a videographer," and they took it and they're fine, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
thankfully they didn't
she's
dig
like-
in
So then we're walking.
because that was the only.
I was walking with that person. She says, "Oh, your husband's a videographer." I was like, "What?"
Yes.
When did he start?
I was like, "Did he tell you that?" And then I was like, "Why did you say that to them?" And he's like, "It's just too much to
Yeah.
tell them everything
what was
that
I
we
gonna
do.
tell them?
I'm a
Totally.
mountain boarder. I do a video magazine. I'm a punch press operator.
Yeah,
like,
I take the trash for my rent.
like
I mow the grass for my rent.
like you know what I mean?
It's so much.
Like people
yes.
are just trying to put you in a box.
And if you say, "Well, I'm a dad or a husband,"
he used to try to do
Yeah.
that.
well, then
and
you're a
they'd say-
smart butt.
Yeah.
Well, no, he did try that, and then the person would say, "No, like, what do you do for
Yeah,
money?"
somebody
Yeah.
dug deeper.
They did. They said that.
Yeah,
What do
not
you do
enough.
for money?
Yeah.
And Justin's like, "So is that what I'm defined as?
Yeah.
What I do for money?"
Yeah. Yes,
Like,
it
that
is
makes no
actually.
sense. Like that's not who I am. Like
Yeah.
I thought you were asking like, who am I?
Yeah.
Right.
Did you say what you tell people?
A menagerie.
He'll say like,
Yeah,
kind
I
of
mean, usually it's rancher, entrepreneur, business owner,
Yeah.
something like that.
Something like
you
that.
know.
They're happy with that.
They're happy.
Self-employed, always like, oh, we work for ourselves.
Yeah, I've done that sometimes.
And
On,
they
like,
don't dig
forums.
deeper.
They don't. They don't
And if
want to
they
know
do,
what
they
we
probably
Yeah.
really want to know.
Which is amazing because I dig deeper.
You do.
I mean, I'm
When you ask
fascinated.
somebody
when
what
I,
they do?
When I see somebody that's successful, I want to know everything.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
How do you do this? How did you get here? What did you do? What did you struggle with? What have you learned? You know, I ask all these questions, and yet 99.9% of the time, nobody wants to know those things.
Yeah.
But you'll ask that of people.
Oh yeah.
Will they answer you?
Usually, yeah. Like
Who
people
was
like
the last one you can think of?
You, the
you
smart.
guys.
Oh,
Like
okay.
that's why that's why it's fun. Yeah.
What's your
Appreciate
biggest
that.
struggle going on right
Yeah.
now?
Oh, yeah.
Where
Those
you're
were
gonna be
really good questions. I mean, I have it written
Yeah.
down to ask you those
Yeah.
questions. So let's ask you those questions. What were they? They were, you asked me what's next first. Was there
Yeah.
a reason for that order? Because I would have ask the struggle and then say what's next.
Yeah, not necessarily.
You asked the
Probably.
struggle.
He
and
has
then-
no
He
order.
just doesn't
Yeah,
know.
I'm
He
just
just
like,
asks.
Okay, well then
He's
let's
just
go in
wanting
your
that.
order.
Yeah.
What is y'all's biggest struggle right now?
I hate the word balance, but it's just figuring out how to keep the pieces, the balls in the air.
There is no balance.
There is no. I don't really believe in balance. I don't believe in like. There's not perfect compartments in my life. There never will be. But just like, okay, well, how do I, as our kids get bigger and they have more activities, like how does my role in the business look, and what does that look like for homesteading, and what does that look like for our other businesses, and just that constant shifting, changing. That's kind of where
Yeah.
I'm just like problem solving that a lot right now.
I'm gonna ask you this because you get it a lot. You don't know how to answer it, so I'm gonna ask you. That's the perfect question. How do you balance it all? I guess you do know how to answer it. You
I
have
don't.
a good answer for this.
I don't
I don't.
balance it. Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
And the other thing I say always is we
That's
have
something that people want to like shame you on. Is
Yeah.
if you take on too much,
Really?
We
or
get
if
that
you
a lot.
push
So
too
that's
hard.
coming from shaming.
Oh yeah, that's what we have been given.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it's always been from a shame standpoint.
always a shame. Always.
It's
You're
not a
doing too
heroic.
much.
They're not looking up to you.
No, your kids are
Well,
going to
some
suffer.
They're not
people
trying to
are.
learn from you.
Some
Sure,
people are.
there are some
They're
people.
they're trying to shame you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's some people that look up
Interesting.
to us, but most of the time, I shouldn't even say most of the time. There's been a select few that say, you know, you're suffering. Your relationship with God's going to suffer. Your relationship with your kids are going to suffer. Blah 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 blah. Because you're trying to do too much.
Yeah. But they don't even know the people who don't know us that well. Yeah, and it's usually from people. It's less online. That's more like people in
That's like
local.
personal.
People are
yeah.
people. Yeah.
Do you
Which-
do you believe in the saying, "You are the 5 people you hang out with"?
Yeah.
absolutely.
You do believe it?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Do you?
Do you hang? No.
Well, I should say.
I hope not. I hope it's not true.
It's
You think
It's
You
true.
think it's true? I think, but okay.
He says it's true.
But with the
which is
caveat of
definitive. He says
some
it's
of
I've
the
had a
people-
Because
coach
what
tell
happens to
me,
somebody who? Go ahead.
is his definition was if you show me the 5 people you hang out with the most, and I'll show you where you're going.
Okay.
So because
But-
you're
But I would say I
and
don't
it
hang
doesn't
out with.
necessarily have to be people you hang out with physically.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think
You know,
because
it could be who's
yeah.
in your
Because
circle. There's people
I-
in our circle that obviously that I look up to, who I physically don't spend any time with.
Yeah, there are people in your circle, based on your story, you're Wyoming, on a financial and entrepreneurial level, you have far exceeded that. There's no way they're going to even understand.
that's
But you're saying, well, you can
Yes.
surround yourself with books.
That's
and
what I was going to say. Books and
podcasts.
podcasts, because like there's people we hang out with that I enjoy, but they're on a different track. They don't want to be on
Yeah.
our track. They think our track is not for them. So
Yeah.
I'm just not influenced by them and their choices. But I have podcasts and books in my head constantly.
This is good.
So that's who I feel like that is who I'm like looking out here to
Yeah.
the point.
That's who
Sometimes
you're hanging out
that's
I'll
who
go
I'm
with you
hanging
there.
out with.
And that gives
Yeah.
people hope
Yeah.
because
Sure.
they're probably surrounded by losers.
Well, and the thing is, then I would say,
No, I'm not.
I would say-
I am very
Yeah.
fortunate to have created a community around myself that is
wondering,
absolutely
like,
amazing.
Yeah.
I hope our
I am not.
friends aren't
I am not
listening.
surrounded by losers, and we have wonderful Jason back
I
there.
know.
I am not. I am very blessed.
Yeah.
But I want to speak to the person who's saying, "Oh, Justin, that's nice to you to say because you've built this thing and you get all these people." But I was once didn't have
Yes.
Jason around and the Hollers around and Art and Bree and you guys, people who are movers and shakers, Jess and Jeremiah. But you don't say you can't sit there and defeat saying, "Oh, I don't.
Like, how am I gonna
I'm not
find
2
those
hours from
people?
Jessica. She's not going to email me back or
Yeah.
whatever." You can't sit in defeat. You have to go
And
and
yourself
surround
with books.
myself
Yes.
with
With
Smart
books and
Passive
podcasts.
Income podcast,
Yes.
Tim Ferriss's podcast, Think and Grow Rich audiobook, and
Zig Ziglar.
Zig Ziglar,
Yeah.
That's just it. I mean,
and then you can break out.
if
Totally.
you're surrounded by losers now, or you're hanging out with losers now, then just stop hanging out with them and start
Yeah.
hanging out with somebody different. I mean, if
Yeah.
you choose to go hang out at happy hour every single night until 2:00
That's
in
a
the morning,
good point.
Yeah.
well, then that's your group. That
Yeah,
and
see.
that sets the benchmark for where you're at in your life and where you're going to go. But if you decide, hey, I'm going to stop hanging out at happy hour every day of the week, and I'm
Yeah.
going to go hang out and listen to podcasts and read books and
Yeah.
go to conventions or go to seminars or do personal development
Yeah.
type stuff, go to the gym, whatever.
Yeah.
Well, that all of a sudden elevates your benchmark.
And you brought up a good point about your local the people you surround yourself with. They might not be on this financial track. They're not going to have this diverse portfolio financially like you will. But there are other features of success, aren't there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe you really appreciate their parenting
Right.
or their spiritual angle or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's what we found. We have good people. Like we have people that we enjoy going to brandings with or doing cattle work with. And then we have people I enjoy riding horses with. And they don't get at any other area of my life, but I can enjoy them for our horse relationship. And then we have
Yeah.
our group we get together with quite a bit. They're really good with physical fitness. So like they're dragging me along for a half marathon in September. I would not do that if not for their influence, right? They don't get the rest of our life. They don't really homeschool. They're not really
okay.
into food. They're not really into business. And so I get inspired with that other places, and then we enjoy them for who they are and
For who they
yeah,
are.
and what they bring to
Yeah.
the table. Yeah,
And hopefully it reciprocates. Hopefully we
yeah.
bring something
I think
to
we
the
rub off
table
on
for
them sometimes. Yeah,
that helps build
That's
them
true.
up in,
Yeah.
in some way.
All
I
right.
mean, you should ask yourself the question all the time of who am I serving and how am I serving? I mean, that's one of the reasons I like employees, because it's my job it's not the job of the employee to serve me. It's my job to serve the employee and to teach that employee and to bring that employee up and to give that employee something to look forward to in the future and whatever.
Okay.
So,
That's good.
it's the same thing with your friends.
Yeah.
How am I serving my friends and how am I feeding my friends and doing things like that?
Yeah. We'll wrap up.
you fed your friends good this trip. I just want
What?
to say
We
you
fed you
us
guys
good.
Okay, good. I hope so,
It's
man,
good
because
food.
lunch was all off the farm. Eggs, bacon,
Yeah, it was
sausage.
good.
Yeah.
If you didn't like that, it doesn't get any better than that
Well,
here.
tonight we're having mac and cheese with
Yeah.
y'all's steak.
With steak and
Yeah.
mac and cheese,
I'm
like
super
so
excited
good.
about that. And
So-
some grocery store zucchini.
That's totally fine.
We're gonna totally get into your other question, which is, well, it was what's next. So, but let's save that for the end because I want to get back in the time machine. 5 years ago, who were you serving, and how? And I'm looking at both of you. I know I'm looking right at Christian.
Okay.
I'm craning
like,
my
I
neck a
didn't
little
answer
too
that
much if I
question.
look at
Okay.
Jill.
5 years ago was like doTERRA land. So we were
Okay.
really
Wow.
invested in doTERRA, yeah, which was a great period of our life. We met some awesome people. We did some good traveling. Got us out of our comfort zone on travel.
Where was travel? Good traveling.
All
What's
over.
good travel?
I still struggle with travel, but
We went to Switzerland. We went
yeah,
to Africa. We went to Bulgaria, Romania.
With doTERRA.
Nepal.
Wait a minute. You told me this morning the best coffee you ever had was in Haiti.
Was in,
You
that,
done went
that
to
actually
Haiti.
wasn't a doTERRA trip, but
that was.
But you went to Haiti.
I went to Haiti. We did a
Cool.
humanitarian trip there.
Okay.
Worked on building a kindergarten school.
So you were crushing it with doTERRA. Where was
Yeah.
the blog? Was it still?
It was kind of back burnery. Like it was still going. I never quit blogging, but it, when we talk about balance, like to me, they don't all, nothing ever really all happens at the exact same time, even though sometimes people look at our life and think it does. There's
Yeah.
always something that's getting kind of the weight or the bulk of our focus, and other things are kind of just simmering. And then, so that period, the blog was simmering and doTERRA was on full boil. Yeah.
This makes me think for whatever reason. It wasn't about, it was about this time, 6 years ago, it would have been about the time I approached you.
Yeah.
And I want to encourage the listeners and the viewers that I have Jill Winger in my house right now. Okay. We got to that to where we're surrounding ourselves with the people we want to be
Yeah.
like, right?
Yeah.
But that didn't just happen by randomly send you an email. Will you be my friend?
Yeah,
What would you have done to that? I mean,
Yeah.
you wouldn't have known that
Like,
she's too nice to say, oh, she said it. She delete.
Deleted
And not because you're a jerk, but
Yeah.
it's kind of like,
That's weird.
you don't, I'm a complete stranger.
Yeah.
So people just have to get out of this, woes me, pours me, this is not my situation, look at them, that's because they have this or that. No, you just have to get out there and start doing. You just have to
Yes.
start creating, right?
Yes. Just get out there. You will make mistakes.
Yeah.
People will tell you no. Like they will.
You told me no.
I told you no.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Do you remember
like,
more clearly?
no,
I'm
thank
trying to
you.
get it down because I'm like,
I
well, you
do.
promote. I don't know. Did I ask you to share my Kickstarter?
Yeah, and I remember it was a good like it wasn't just like an instant like no.
No.
It was like I was like, oh man,
You were pregnant.
I was
with Sage.
Was I pregnant?
Mm-hmm.
See, when I'm
And
pregnant,
And that's
don't
when.
function.
So
You're
you
what?
said
I don't
no.
function when I'm pregnant.
Okay.
She was pregnant,
I
and
would-
it was like
Are you more apt to accept a request like that when you're pregnant, or less?
less.
Less.
I don't
So
do
bad
anything
timing
with
there.
bad
So
timing.
then Justin
No,
was
I
like,
forget.
"Would
I forget
write
why
a
you
blog
said
post?"
you replied.
And you said
did
yes.
reply.
And you said yes to the blog post because you were pregnant.
Yeah.
And you
no,
were
no,
like,
wait.
I'm
You're
a-
going too fast.
I'm
So I
not.
reply. I texted you about Kickstarter,
Yeah.
Yes.
and you
It was a nice
actually
email.
replied.
It was a
and-
nice
and
email.
probably declined
Yes.
politely.
Yes.
I remember getting these emails from like getting it back from Joel or Jill, and you know how it's still dark before you click on the email.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? I would like try to keep it fresh and call back up. Hey, they've replied. And then you said something like, "Oh well, I'm really busy.
Yeah.
And then you said, "Oh,
My husband's an electrician."
you're busy."
I don't know what you said. He's
He doesn't help me
not
blog.
helping me. I
No.
can't. So forget it. So
But then
then
you came. What did you?
you
come
don't
back
take
with?
no for an answer. I
Yeah.
countered.
Yes.
You might have said you're busy.
I'm sure
and so
I did. Yeah.
countered with, well,
Let
could
me-
I do a guest post for you?
Yes.
And you were like, heck yes.
Yep.
And I didn't just say, can I do a guest post? If I remember right, I said, could I do one on this topic? And it was just,
That's
it would
key.
be really easy for you to say yes or no.
That is
there was
key.
going to be no
Yes.
brainstorming.
You didn't have to think.
I did not have to think. No, anyone watching who wants to get someone's attention,
Yeah.
like,
Don't make them think.
do not make them think.
Mm-mm. It
Do
needs
not.
to be here's what I'm going to give you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's what I expect.
In return.
Yes or no?
Yes.
So everybody listen to that.
Yep.
Because you can get our attention that
Yeah.
way.
He
Yeah.
was so excited. I
But no,
remember.
few
Yeah.
people do it.
Yeah.
Few enough people do it that we're not going to be barred. I'm confident that I can say this even on here because
Yeah.
few people do it.
Because it takes more work. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
and I can smell a cut and pasted form letter a mile away. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so do
sure.
you know? Put
You
that
can.
personal. You know,
Yeah.
if someone is just finding me randomly on Google, I can tell immediately.
And you can tell I didn't cut and
Yeah.
paste that email.
It's
No, you
funny.
did
That's why
not.
you were kind enough to answer.
Yes. Yes.
I'm
Yeah.
not adept to that yet because somebody had emailed me. I ordered something from a company and they actually know who we are.
Mm.
And then they responded back and I was reading it to Justin. He's like, "This is cut and paste." I was like, "It is?"
Yeah.
Yeah, there'll be errors in it
Yep,
sometimes.
uh-huh.
It'll be the other person's name,
there
whoever
were
they
no
texted
errors.
you
I
before.
don't think there were
Or
any errors in
You
it.
can see the different fonts.
Uh,
That's a dead giveaway. Sometimes it's not that obvious, but you can see like
I'm gonna go
different
back and look at
fonts
that
when
email.
they cut and paste different pieces.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's a
Names
dead
and a different
giveaway.
font in the
Yeah.
body
You
of the
can't take the time.
paragraph.
No, I used
Yeah.
to, if somebody would comment on my YouTube channel and they'd say, "This was great," and they'd put an 8 in it instead of spelling it all the way out, I'm like,
Oh,
I've spent all this time
no,
creating this
yeah.
content. If you can't write out the word "great,"
They're great. My-
It's the comment.
or they say, "Dear the Prairie Homestead," and I'm like,
Dear
delete.
that's a dead giveaway.
Dear the Prairie
Yeah.
Homestead.
Yeah. So nobody.
My favorite is I love your content.
Uh-huh.
This is
very
what I
nice.
want you
Yes.
to hawk for me, and it is way off base. And you're
Yeah.
just like, you obviously don't know what our content is.
Nobody.
Bless them.
Nobody has to get Joel. It was I wanted an hour of his time. I found out in a roundabout way what his fee was. I could have called Polyface and found out what his speaking fee was. I divided by that. His speaking fee is for all day,
Yeah.
so I divided that by 8, and put
That was
hey,
smart.
will you?
Yeah.
And I'll come to you.
Yeah.
You don't even
No,
have to travel
in
to
6
us.
years, I've got people. Can I come pick your brain? Can I come shoot this about you? Can you come? Can I shout you out in this? Nobody has ever yet said, "Hey, I'll give you," even if they're throwing out a number.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would
That's-
appreciate that more. They
Yep.
could say, "Hey, I'll give you $200. Can we come?" you know, and help you with the chores, and I get a shout out. I'm trying my new vlog out.
Yeah.
That I think your audience would be
think
interested
the key
in.
that people
I would
need
be
to-
about it.
Yeah.
But I think what
Yeah.
people need to know is that we need to be asked.
Mm-hmm.
Like when somebody's like, "Oh, I want to come to your farm," and you know they want a shout out, but they're not saying it. That's weird. It's like awkward for us because
Yeah.
we're like,
That's why I say you have
Then
to say what you
if
expect.
if we don't do what they're expecting, then we're the jerks.
Yeah.
And their hurt feelings. Like it's just best to get it all out on the table. So if you want something, just ask for it and
Yeah.
say what
And
you
say it,
want.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
so
agree.
my ask and give to you was, I'll give you a blog post, and here's the name of it, because I've noticed you didn't have one on this already and might want one. Your audience, I was thinking about your audience too. What would your audience wants to read? And then here's what I want. At the end of the blog post, I get to link my Kickstarter. Why wouldn't you do
Yeah.
that? You would do that all
Yeah.
day long. You'd be crazy not to.
And then you got my attention enough and you did a good job on the blog post. And I was like, well, this guy's legit. Like, I actually like his stuff. This is actually
Yeah.
valuable. So then I think I put money in your Kickstarter. And then I even,
You probably did.
and then I
you-
we did something. Oh, I was in, you had,
You helped me after the
did a
Kickstarter
launch,
for
yeah.
sure. You signed up as an
Yes.
affiliate.
yes.
So it already
yes.
built this relationship with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, I'll be an affiliate, and you did really well.
Yeah. And it
You
was
did
great.
really
And then,
well for
then
us.
I was like, yeah, because you had to prove that you were just not another,
Yeah.
This
you
is
know.
a funny story. You know, we're early on, and we have our email set up to where it dings. I had just arranged with you. You were going to send out. I was going to be in the toolbox, or you were doing something weekly at that time. I don't know if it was going to be. I think you were going to send a dedicated,
yeah.
and it was about 8 a.m. or whatever time it was. We were doing dishes or something, and we heard the ding, ding. And I said to Rebekah, I bet Jill sent out her email. And sure enough, I went over there. All these sales are coming in.
Yeah.
It's great. So
That was
thank
so
you.
fun.
Thank you for taking that.
So fun. Absolutely.
Yeah, thanks for taking a
Who
risk
would have
on
thought?
us.
Like,
So-
here we are.
I know, right?
No, no. Now here we are.
Yeah.
We went to see you on
And
the
then
Great
we saw
American
you on
Farm
the
Tour,
Great
Tour,
American
and that was
Farm
a trip.
Tour,
Yeah.
and I was fangirling
Yeah.
just some, because like I'd read your blog for a long time. I remember when you guys remodeled.
Yep. Yes.
I was, like,
yes.
following
you knew,
that
and you knew Oakley. I
intently.
think you knew all about Oakley.
Yes,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
brown Swiss. I
Yeah.
know, which I'm still like, maybe we should get a brown Swiss.
You
Need
should get
some
a
brown Swiss genetics out here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where
So-
did you get your brown Swiss? Because is brown Swiss, are they common in Wyoming?
Not necessarily. There was this one at a organic dairy in Colorado,
Yeah, in Colorado.
and then we
Oh,
used
because you're so close to Colorado.
So we
You
just
guys
had the
are.
one, and then we've been using brown Swiss semen. So now we have a lot of them.
Mm.
You do.
So
We AI, so
yeah.
because
You
we
should
wanted to
bring
be
it.
able
You
to
should have
stick
brought
with.
I know we
them.
should have put one in the trailer behind the RV.
I
That would be
know.
fun.
Yeah. I've got a bred heifer. We could bring out.
Justin's
Yeah.
all like, he's not saying anything.
I'm about to take notes here.
He's like,
The baby-
You're ready to go to AI school,
Yeah.
right?
You were
baby-
talking about getting a brown Swiss.
Yeah.
I think we went away from it. It's so big.
they are big. They
Yeah.
are
But
much
okay,
bigger.
but the reason
huge.
is
Yeah.
because I love this dairy or creamery. I guess they're called creameries. They're not dairies. I don't know.
Oh.
What's it called? You can shout
Traders
it out.
Point.
Traders Point Creamery.
And I
in
used to buy
Illinois?
their yogurt.
or Indiana?
Indiana. I used to
Yeah.
buy their yogurt, and I had, researched them. Back in the day when I bought food at the grocery store, I tried to research all the companies,
Yeah.
to see what we were really getting, and it looked really good. And so then when we were on the tour, we went to their restaurant and their farm, and I was so nervous driving there because I was like, this is what I think, because this is what they say on the internet.
Yeah.
But we all know that they can say whatever they want
Right.
until you get there,
was-
and then it's a hot mess. But it was amazing. It was it was just everything that I had ever hoped it would be. And I was like, I want a brown Swiss now. Because they do brown Swiss
Yes.
primarily.
Yes.
And I was like, I want
So
one.
back to the time
But
machine.
you heard now.
We're getting away from this brown Swiss. I want to
Sorry.
go back to the time machine.
Go back to time machine.
This is fun. I mean, but we are running out of time.
I know.
This is
Wow.
sad.
We've made it. Just
I know.
This
like,
is easy. I feel like I could go another hour and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So back into the time machine, let's go more to now. So you were blogging. We've already talked about transitioning from blogging, making them a little different. But I feel like on your Instagram page, well, one, you changed your handle from the Prairie Homestead to just Jill Winger.
Yeah.
Did you say why when you did that? I don't remember.
I
It's
did.
been a while.
I
It's
don't
been a
remember
couple
what I
years
said.
now.
No, it was this year. Or
Oh, it
not
was
this year. I don't know
year.
what year it is. I keep
It
thinking it's
wasn't
2021.
2022,
It was
but-
2021
Yeah, it was.
when I
just
did it. It
last
was like
year.
summer.
It wasn't that long.
So was
ago.
that
wasn't
your-
that long ago.
6 months-ish?
It felt like a coming out.
It was a coming out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell me how.
So it'd been simmering for a while, and I was too scared to do it. I kept thinking, I can't. So I had to talk to him many times. I talked to my coach. I just was. It's hard to explain because I'm not done with homesteading. We're still homesteading. We love homesteading.
Okay.
Right.
I'm not going to quit talking about homesteading. But I felt like a lot of pieces of me that I'm learning and things I'm reading and doing and chewing on that I felt boxed in with my brand because it was
Okay.
only homesteading. So I was like,
Yeah.
my books and what I listen to are like this broad expanse, and the topics that I love to talk about are all over here. But then the only way I was allowing myself to show up online was like this little tiny, here's how to make tomato paste and bread. And I was just kind of bored with it.
Okay.
So I started to go, what's lighting me up? And also I started to think about what really brought us to this point where we have this amount of freedom and, we're able to kind of just go and do, and we don't answer to bosses and we don't answer to any of these,
Yeah.
societal structures. And how did we get to this point? Because homesteading was a piece of that, but it wasn't all of it. And so I thought, I think I would be more excited to share content if I was able to let these other pieces of myself out and talk about some of those to the world. And so, I went back and forth. I'm like, I'm going to lose all my followers because they come to me for how to bake bread and canned tomatoes. And, I was ultimately like, I either kind of stay in strictly the homestead space and I'm kind of not authentic to who I really am. It's not like I was hiding any part of me. I just wasn't putting it all
Sharing,
out there.
yeah.
Or I just do what's lighting me up and risk losing a bunch of followers. So I ultimately decided, you got to stay true to who you are and be authentic. And so after there were a lot of conversations.
You
it
were
wasn't
all
an
for it,
easy.
I imagine.
He was all for the authenticity.
I always try to bring a different perspective because she would be like,
Yeah.
well, I'm going to lose a bunch of followers.
Did you?
No,
I didn't think you would.
Well, and
Did you
you
lose
do
any?
lose
I don't think
some.
so.
But
I just stopped looking.
I'm like,
Uh,
if you
That's
lost that
good.
follower, did you ever really have that follower?
Yeah.
Right.
They weren't for me anyway.
If they don't want all of you, like
Yeah.
I think people
Yeah.
are super surprised by like Justin and I that we don't live, breathe, and do homesteading all
Yeah.
the time. Like that we have other interests.
Yes.
Like I don't necessarily read a lot of I do read.
Yeah.
I read more homesteading books than Justin.
Right.
I mean, and he does read some.
He knows it all already, right?
He doesn't. He's writing a book. I know.
But what I'm saying is like so many people think that's all we want to
All-
talk about. I'm
same.
like, actually, we don't really want to talk about when we get
Yeah.
together with our friends. Sure, we talk about things, but that is not the bulk of what we talk about. We are
Ditto.
we're all complex people, and
Yes.
homesteading is just an aspect of our life.
Yeah.
And
Well,
so, like, I
Yeah.
mean, this,
Look what
we've
happened on this
talked a
podcast.
lot,
Right.
but it hasn't been like,
We're not talking gardening strategies the whole
yeah,
time.
I mean, we
Yeah.
haven't talked about.
I mean,
Oakley
we
the
brought
entire
up the
time.
Swiss cow, and
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
even got us off of that as soon as I could.
I know.
I know.
As soon as I
But
could.
it was actually as I started to come out
Sure.
with it, I've had more people. My content started doing better,
Yeah.
and people actually have gone out of their way to tell me thank you. And I'm really interested in the other parts of you, which I'm sure there's
Aw,
people who
that was
aren't.
sweet of
It was
them.
very sweet, so sweet.
Wow.
And I'm sure there's people who aren't, and that's cool. You're not meant for me, and I'm not meant for you, and it's fine. And
Right.
blessings, go on your way. But it's been good, and I've found more interest. I've got my fire back, and I think
Good.
the people who were attracted to my brand anyway probably had the same pieces that I was, as I do. They like some of the same books. They like some of the same ways of seeing life. So it's been a good thing.
I appreciate you doing that, breaking out like that. The thought is, I try to tell people and remind people, because you get into homesteading, you get excited, and it's this lifestyle. It does become a lifestyle.
Yes.
We don't serve homesteading. Homesteading
Yes.
serves us. And I'll say the same thing about permaculture,
Yeah.
anything. You can classically see it. I classically saw it in our trainer who would do Whole 30, but wouldn't last on Whole 30.
Yeah.
Well, Whole 30 should serve you. You should use Whole 30 how you can
To serve you.
sustain.
to be
You know what I mean?
better.
This Whole 30 diet. You know, right?
Yes.
Or it's not going to last.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
has-
You would have
it
burned
has
out,
to
Jill.
become the
Oh yeah,
lifestyle.
totally.
If you couldn't have talked more about some other things.
Yeah, because I kind of got a lot of the topics. Like I love talking about bread, but I'm like I can't do many more podcasts on bread, or videos.
Well-
I'm just like I'm running
Yeah.
out. I'm just running out of oomph here.
Do you guys
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
Netflix?
Yeah.
What's the last thing you watched and enjoyed? If you want to share that, or what's something that you watch on there, and I will do the same. We'll play this game.
Okay.
That people might be surprised that you would watch that you watched.
What did we just finish on Netflix?
Hey, I can never remember what we watched. We just finished something
Well, we watched The Last Dance.
with about Michael Jordan with
about
the
Michael
kids.
Jordan.
Oh, we watched that.
That was a
We
good
watched that when I was 6. The Last
documentary.
Dance with
Have you ever
Jordan.
read
Such a
the
Wasn't
good
that so
documentary.
good?
It was
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah.
Have you read the book Winning by Tim Grover?
I never heard
Tim
of that.
Grover
You're
was
talking
in
about a book now.
Mhm.
Yeah,
That-
Tim
write that
Winning.
down.
Tim Grover was
Oh,
in,
we're writing that one down.
he was in The Last Dance. That was what
Yeah.
turned me on to The Last Dance.
The
but
Winning, WINNING.
it's just
It's W1
W1.
in all the chapters are number 1 in the book. So you'll
Well,
see.
interesting.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, because he's the winner.
But it's a
Either way,
great
yeah.
book from the standpoint of what we were talking about earlier with people who would tell you you're doing too much or you're pushing too hard or you're, whatever.
Yeah.
Because he argues the opposite
Yeah.
of that. He's like, if you want to be the best, there is no balance in your life, and he breaks
Wow.
down the stories of Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant and all these
Wow.
great basketball players. So then that's where like, well,
Here's the
gotta
problem.
watch this.
If you hadn't have watched that show about Michael Jordan and the Bulls in the 90s, you would have never heard about the book The Winning.
No, the
well,
winning.
actually, we heard I read
Oh,
the
you
book
heard The
before,
Winning.
yeah.
Okay, well, if you didn't read The Winning,
Yeah.
Yeah.
then you got on this Michael Jordan thing,
Right.
and I know because I watched it. I'm sure you got something out of that.
Yeah.
So take that back to the 5 people who influence you the most. I mean, there's always something that's leading you down the trail,
Mm-hmm.
There should be somebody in your life right now that's pushing you guys to do the next thing.
Mm-hmm.
There's people in our life right now that are pushing us to do the next thing, even though we might be scared of it or think we can't do it or think it's impossible or whatever. That's how I take that. And so
If people don't have that, they might need to hire it. I remember early on in my hiring first employees stages, there was nobody to talk to.
Yeah.
There's this do it yourself, you should do everything mentality. You should save as much as you
Yes.
can. I'm talking about mowing my own grass. Should I hire that out? So think about it. And I hired a coach, and that's one thing I asked about, if I should hire that out, if I should hire somebody to come in and help me with the kids for the afternoon so I can get some stuff done. And I had to pay him a lot.
Yeah.
But he was in a whole nother mentality, whole nother world. And you know what he
Yeah.
told me? He's like, just do the math, Justin.
yeah.
How long does it take you to mow? An hour.
Yeah.
How much are you worth an hour? Let's be conservative. I was worth 25 an hour. It could have been 50, could have been 100, could have been 20. Okay, you can hire this teenager. He'll do it for 15.
Yep.
Do the math, Justin. All day long, you hire out the mowing.
Yeah.
So the point is, if you don't have these people in your life, sometimes you might have to spring for
So
the
that
coach.
was a growing
Yes.
moment for you.
Heck
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, it was
Heck
a
yeah.
good.
And
if
this
we
was
go
an
back-
older man.
Yes.
This was like 60s.
Yeah.
And he was like, real bold about it.
Yep.
Right.
And I needed that.
Yes. And we have hired coaches. We have a coach right now. We both have the same, and he's one. We talk to him once a week on Zoom, but he's
Oh.
someone I consider in our circle of 5 people. Like
Okay,
he
yeah.
is he is a direct
Yeah,
influence.
and you had to
in our
hire
life.
him.
We
So
had to
do
hire
you
him.
guys
That's
go
okay.
together? Do you guys
No,
do
we
it
just
into
separate.
individual?
Yeah, we just separate.
Same guy.
Same guy. Yeah.
Huh.
And that's, I mean, I just even now I feel like a lot of stuff I used to run by him. I don't need to run by him now because I kind of in my groove on some things. But just having that higher mindset to bounce stuff off of is valuable. I pay for that all day
Okay.
long.
Yeah.
Back to books, and you're coming out. You posted on Instagram a list of books. You just did it recently too.
Mm-hmm.
So you've done it a number of times.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the list of books with the motorcycle mechanic.
Yes.
And what was the name? David Goggins. What was the name of his book?
Oh, Can't Hurt Me.
Can't Hurt
Yeah.
Me.
We
So I
read
totally
that
got
one.
Yeah.
that book.
Yes.
Now I
It's
can see
good.
why maybe you were shy in posting all these books.
Yeah.
Because you're going away from this, like, how would I describe it? This Prairie
Well-
Homestead. It was homesteading.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you're recommending this book on this ultra athlete
Yeah.
who's got a filthy mouth.
Yes, it's
Very
very.
filthy.
And is very driven
Yeah.
and was military.
Yep.
It's
It's
totally
a good
not
book
homesteading.
though.
He's almost not
Yeah.
human.
He's not. I know.
No.
And I've always liked those guys. Like I like the guys, the motivational guys who wear black t-shirts and yell. Like those guys fire me up. So then as I'm listening to those guys for years, you know, I'm like, everyone has this image of Jill in the apron holding a chicken, and they would die if they knew what I actually listened to.
So this is what it was. You were feeling this, and this is why you finally felt in your heart, you just got to be.
I'm like, I'm done. I cannot be. I can wear an apron, but I can also listen to the guy yelling the F word on the podcast
and I just
get a lot out of it.
That.
So.
And you just came to the point. I got to let people know that.
I got to let it out.
And if they unfollow me, then I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And it might hurt your feelings, right?
Yeah. Sure. I don't like being unfollowed, but it's fine.
It would sadden you if some nice homeschool kid is following you and picks up the David Goggins book and gets in trouble with his parents and
or is disgusted
and then is
disappointed
in you, Jill.
Yes. That would not feel good, but it's worth that disappointment.
Worth the risk.
It's worth the risk.
But it's who you are.
It's who
like
I am.
I feel like we have to stop apologizing for who we are.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? Like we have to still be who we are. Like yes, we have like this online presence, but then we are also people, you know, and we really need to.
Yeah, I ended up recommending that book to my email list.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
feel like people can buy it if they want. They need to be their own parent. I'm not the parent.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that too. I agree.
I feel like people can make the decisions for themselves.
If they don't want
what's good, what's bad,
if they
what's
look
right,
David
what's
Goggins
wrong,
up on
what
Instagram
they
and
agree
they're
with and
like,
don't agree
yeah,
with.
not for me.
Yeah.
I mean, I follow Gary Vee.
Yeah. I like Gary Vee.
One of the most unbelievable, positive people. You wouldn't know it at first because every third word is a swear word.
It's a little
heavy one too.
Yeah.
And
but if
but
somebody
his
gets hung up
message
on
is
that,
incredible.
There's probably something else.
Yeah, there's a stigma.
So
yeah, what's a bad word anyway? Who said this word, the SHIT word, that's going to be bad?
Yeah. And then we go back
and
to the
poop's
whole
not gonna be.
The whole system. Who in the system? So
Let's
break some rules.
Who has that power? Who had that? They had some marketing.
Who died made them
guru there.
Yeah.
So I can see watching The Last Dance and getting something out of it, right? You're watching this success story, or David Goggins, but just for the sake of confession, Rebekah and I watched Cobra Kai on Netflix.
I've not watched
it.
It's
this Karate Kid saga continued.
Okay.
It's so
and it does.
stupid.
They had more of a potty mouth in season 1, but it stopped.
Yeah.
It did clean up.
It did clean up. I feel like it's not.
I think that's because Netflix got it from YouTube.
It's
and I
not
don't know why
as
Netflix
offensive.
would clean it up.
Okay.
I don't know. It's just not.
But anyway,
it's not
just
as
stupid.
out of control.
Yeah.
But
I don't think we're learning anything from it, guys.
Okay.
I
will confess. He can. I watched Schitt's Creek.
What is it?
Schitt's Creek.
What is that?
Yeah, I don't.
That's the name of the town. It's not.
We've never.
It's a
watched
stupid, like a sitcom.
It's
Let's
stupid.
clarify that
He doesn't
she
watch it.
watches
He doesn't
this.
watch it.
Oh, let's clarify.
But I don't. Okay, I am so focused. Everything I listen to, it's always like with a purpose. I do not read fiction books ever. Like maybe once every 6 years.
Why?
I read all I don't like them. I feel like they're fluffy.
Just
Okay, what?
It's a total
like
hypocrite.
you're not getting something.
I don't.
I'll be like,
Yeah. I don't find them interesting. Like I don't care about
Really?
romance. No, I want to read nonfiction,
we gotta
business.
find her a good fiction.
Science.
Did you read Where the Crawdads Sing?
No, that's not a Kickstarter. That's not a
But
Kickstarter.
so I say all
That
that.
was so
But
good.
when I watch a show at night, I do not want it to be intelligent. I want it to be dry humor, and I just need something stupid. So that's
It's gotta have like room temperature IQ.
No. Like I like The
that's
Office.
it.
Did you watch The Office?
We did.
No, we're Seinfeld.
No.
Oh,
so
so
We're going over Seinfeld
So
again.
we are.
So
we're a little bit
older than you. We're
Yeah.
43.
Yeah.
So I'm 42.
Okay.
But The Office is the new Seinfeld, I think.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what happened was.
I think Seinfeld was better. I watched Seinfeld.
Yes,
Okay, good.
Seinfeld is
Yeah.
better.
It's on Netflix now, by the way.
I will say this though, we got rid of our TV when it wasn't cool to get rid of our
Yes.
TV.
Right.
People
yeah,
were
when there
like,
you couldn't watch stuff on
you don't have a
internet.
TV, and like, no,
No,
you
you
don't have
seriously
a
had to
TV.
listen to the radio.
Totally.
Or
Yeah.
just go to
That
bed.
was 2005. We got our TV back in 2016 when everybody was like, I don't have my TV anymore. I'm like,
Yeah.
we're
We're done with that.
We're ready. I want to watch the
Yeah.
Olympics. I missed the Olympics all those years.
Yep.
And I want to watch them again. So we got the TV. Literally, we got the TV for the Olympics. They installed it early in the week. The Olympics were starting on Friday. They called me the next day after they installed it, and they said, "How do you like your TV, like your TV service?" And I was like, "Oh, I actually haven't even turned it on." They're like, "You haven't?" I was like, "Well, the Olympics start on Friday."
Why else would we have a
So
TV?
the Olympics, that's another one. But, you know,
It
that's
was
kinda-
hilarious. It was so funny because the lady was like, "What?"
When we
I think there's-
disconnected from DirecTV, we literally called and they're like, "Why are you disconnected
Yeah.
from DirecTV?" Like, because we don't watch it. Well, how many hours a week do you watch TV? Well, probably like 1.
They're like, what?
They
And
like
they're
lost it.
What?
When we canceled DirecTV, they called me back and they said, "How can we get
Yes.
you back?"
Oh, they called me for like 5 years.
You know what I told them? You can give me $10,000
Yeah.
and I will get it back. And they were like, "Yeah, that's not going to happen." I was like, "Okay, well then stop calling."
Yeah.
Like,
Don't ever call me again.
When you posted that about the books, David Goggins was in there. I think it was an Instagram story,
I did a story.
and you said,
yeah.
"Hey, I'm about to share these books."
Yeah. I was
making
scared.
me nervous.
I was scared.
I could tell.
Yeah.
Which one or ones were you scared about?
Not David Goggins as much, as I'd kind of come through. I'm like, if someone can't handle cussing, then like don't read the book or just
Yeah, because generally
like,
it's
stop.
totally positive.
It's a
and-
totally positive book. It's a life-changing book.
it's crazy.
Yeah. The biggest one I was silly. I was scared about the Rob Bell book. It was
Okay.
the What is the Bible book, because I had never breathed to anyone that I had read Rob Bell, which is again silly because like so many people read him and he's like not exactly like he's not a Satan worshiper. He's just pretty like just
It's just progressive.
progressive. Sometimes more progressive than I am, to be honest.
Yes.
I don't
Yeah.
agree with everything he
Yeah,
says,
yeah.
but hey, we can read books
Yeah.
that we don't agree with every single thing. Like it's a magical concept. But anyway, I had never said a word. I was scared to admit it. A couple weeks prior to that Insta live, I had been talking about books, but in the comments of an Instagram post. And I had said, they're like, "What books are you liking?" And I just said, "Rob Bell, blah, blah, blah." And I was like, I posted it and I was like, I said his name on my Instagram
So this is
account.
in a comment.
This was in a comment, and somebody found the
And it's-
comment
yeah.
and DM'd me and said, he is a horrible author. He's a heretic. And the
Mm.
whole spiel, which I know the spiel because I used to give the spiel. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not, people think I'm naive about this. Darling, I am not naive about I know, I get it. I used to say it. So that scared me, and I was like, I shouldn't have written that in a comment. And then I'm like, no, you should have written that in a comment. And I'm going to go, that scared me so much, I'm going to put it on the post. I'm going to put a picture.
Wow.
So that made
this
me.
is when she
Yeah.
It was a
Coming out.
good time
was
to
a
push
good
into
time.
that fear.
Yeah. So then
Really?
but I didn't have too much push. I had some pushback when I did the video, but not as much as I thought.
What I thought was funny is when I saw the Rob Bell one, I was like, "Oh, who was that?"
Yeah.
I think he was kind of so
Blue
90s,
Elvis
wasn't
or
he?
something.
That
No,
was
you're
Donald
thinking
Miller.
of Donald Miller,
Donald
Blue Like
Miller.
Jazz.
Blue
Yeah.
like jazz.
He
But,
did Velvet Elvis.
But
Velvet
I feel
Elvis.
like
I knew there was
yeah,
something.
and Elvis. And
I mean, I'm kind of removed from that world, but
Yeah.
it felt like he was hot in the 90s. Controversy. And
And,
I think
yeah.
a lot of people I had to Google him to
Yes.
remember.
Yeah.
A lot of people in the comments were sharing my sentiment. They had no
They
idea
had no,
about
and
why,
I know,
why it was
which was
controversial.
hilarious. And he was like, "Why were you so worried?" Because everyone's like, "Who's Rob Bell?" But in my circles, like he was like,
Oh well, he was
Hitler.
ours as well.
like
It was like, I
seriously.
can't believe you're reading that
Like,
book.
yeah.
Or I mean, I didn't read the book. 'cause
No.
it's too like too much for me. I
Yeah.
just like I know what I believe and like whatever. Do you know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah,
But Rob Bell,
One thing
that's
that is that captures my curiosity is Rob Bell. He's obviously whether you agree with him or not, he's very intelligent. Well, Francis, when I'm Googling this, Francis Chan, you guys know who that is?
yeah. I read his books
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Also a very intelligent,
Yeah.
smart guy, wrote books,
Yeah.
has a rebuttal for it.
Yep,
Two, very smart guys just disagree.
yep,
And that's okay.
But he did say
Yes.
they met in the airport once and had a great time
yeah.
Him and Francis
talking
Chan
with
said
each
that.
other. So that's cool.
Yeah, but I think that that just in itself right now is like polarizing, like to
Yeah.
not agree with
Yeah.
somebody.
Why it makes me so curious is two smart people can disagree.
Yes.
So who's right? And who do you think you are to get on and DM you
Yeah.
and say he's a heretic?
Yeah.
Who do you think you are when there's smart people, very smart? I'm not saying they're not smart, but
Yeah.
how can you be so
How could
definitive?
it be so? And that was my thing because I used to be so definitive. Like I was the most
That caused a
definitive.
lot of problems.
Has God
It
had a
caused a lot of-
favorite? Were you
Yes.
God's favorite?
Yeah.
And he's given
Totally.
you
Yeah,
the insight
for
and
sure.
everybody
No,
else
absolutely.
not?
Absolutely, I believe that.
You felt that.
To the death.
You felt
I
like
God's
believe that.
favorite.
To
Yeah.
the death.
Not like me personally,
So-
his favorite, but like my denomination was the
Oh,
only
you thought.
one.
Oh, okay.
There was
so
that
you guys
was
had
it.
it figured out and everybody else.
Obviously,
Okay,
yeah.
this brings
like
light.
I
Okay.
proselytize.
Okay.
Used to knock doors as a kid. Like I've confronted people about all kinds of things. I
Wow.
was super obnoxious.
So
Not
God
fun
had a
to be
favorite.
around.
But I
Okay.
just don't
I was
see
very
you,
well
like,
So
it's
God had a
very
favorite, and it
interesting.
was that denomination.
Yeah.
And so the other denominations weren't making it.
Like, yeah, even like very close sister denominations.
Wow.
Still,
Weren't making it.
We're not
Wow.
making it. No way.
Interesting.
Yeah. So like that's why getting out of the black and white and like being able to go, yeah, smart people. Actually, way before my denomination was ever even thought of, there were people, you know, hundreds of years ago who had different thoughts about this that we've never even considered, and you guys are so stuck in your pigeonhole. Like that
Yeah.
has all been very eye-opening. Yeah.
Now you can see maybe why they're so passionate. If they really believe
If you
that,
really believe that,
you
yeah.
can see why then they're so concerned.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And it's easier to be black and white. Like I understand the draw. I totally understand it. It's just, it takes a lot of work to sit in the gray of anything. Food, like farming methods, religion, politics, like it's just easier to find a camp. Just go sit in the camp. You don't have to think as much because it's already been decided.
Well, and there's camp leaders
Yeah.
who are championing that cause that you can easily hide behind. If you sit in the gray area, then you automatically become
You're a
more
loner.
visible.
Yeah.
You're on somebody else's radar, which makes that hard.
Yeah. One of your newer projects, Freedom Foundry. What is the Freedom Foundry? This is the first time I've heard of it,
Yeah.
and I'm sure this is the first time others have heard of it. What is it, and how does it play into all that's going on with your life right now?
So as I was kind of working through like, how do I want to share all the parts of who we are and what has made us who we are with the world, you know, beyond just, I'm always going to have the canning courses and bread instructional videos and stuff, but like, how can we share that next level, but still have it be congruent with what we've done? We started to talk about, you know, we have this, I feel like our life is just like you guys. It's pretty unique. It's pretty incredible, the amount of independence and freedom we have from the typical societal norm. Like we've kind of paved our own path, and it gives us a lot of awesome independence, being able to just pick up and even come here. Like we went on a 10-day vacation. We didn't have to ask bosses for permission. We didn't have to ask schools for permission. We didn't have to worry about finances. We just were like, let's just rent an RV, pack up the dog and the kids and go. And I feel like a lot of people are kind of seeking for more freedom right now. They're just questioning, which I think is a really good thing. People are questioning. They're starting to poke around at these systems. And so Freedom Foundry is just it's us sharing more of our path. You know, how did we set up our finances to allow us to do this? How did we start our businesses that allowed us to do this? The educational piece, the medical piece, the health piece, the food piece. So it's homesteading kind of on steroids, just that next level. We're bringing in some experts, and so it's not just me. Some of it's beyond my pay grade. So I'm bringing in experts to bring their voices. And
Is this a member area?
it's a members area. Yeah, there's a different
And it's
topic
already
each
going?
month. Yep.
Okay.
Different topic. There are interviews, there's Q&As, there's playbooks, there's
Cool.
a whole 9 yards.
Are you enjoying yourself?
Yeah, it feels good. It feels good. And then when I still am, so inclined, we'll talk about some heavy duty sourdough Q&As. But then we're also talking about how to leave your mortgage, how to open up pod schooling opportunities, how to work around traditional health insurance, and what are your options looking outside of
Was
that.
that the plan when you began to change brand, ending up at Freedom Foundry, or did that come as you freed yourself up
Came
as an
later.
individual brand?
Because my initial fear, one of them of many, when I talked to my coach, I'm like, I can't pivot my brand. I don't have anything to create around it. There's nothing to create around it. And he's like, doesn't matter. Just, you're supposed to do it. So do it. And
Wow.
it'll come later. And so I did. And then this,
Get out of your head
Yeah.
and into your heart.
and this came. So
Do you listen to everything your coach says?
no, I do not. I do not.
How do you know when you should not listen?
I don't know. Sometimes it just like, that doesn't resonate.
Comes
so
back to your
Do you-
gut.
like, I come back. Yeah. I'm like,
Do you listen to everything he says?
There's been times
Yeah.
where literally she's like, I don't want to do this, and I know I shouldn't do this, but somebody wants me to do this, and so I have to do it.
Mm.
Wait a minute.
yeah.
Every single time you do this and you go against your gut,
yeah.
you hate yourself for
Yeah.
a week. So, yeah, it's
Does your coach? I mean, he's getting paid whether you do
Yeah.
what he says or not. So
Yeah.
it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, he's good.
just the
He
big
doesn't
thing
get his
is
panties in a wad about it?
the coach.
No, he knows. Like the thing I like about this coach, and a good coach I think will do this, he respects
Okay.
intuition. So he'll often say, I'll be sitting there, he'll be explaining something to me, and he's like, okay, we're not talking about this anymore because I can tell this is not vibing with you. Or
okay.
he'll go, how does
That's
that feel
smart.
to you? And I'll be like, I don't like that. And he's like, okay, then don't do it. I respect that a lot.
That's smart.
Yeah.
Which
But,
he's
you know,
good
some-
at, but he can also see a lot of times the bigger picture that we can't see. I mean, that's the whole idea behind having a coach, is having
Right.
somebody who's been
Wow.
through something that, you know, they've already done what I'm trying to do. They've already
That's
been
what
up
you're
this
doing.
ladder,
Yeah.
and I'm trying to get up this ladder. And it doesn't mean that your coach is going to help you go 30 steps up that ladder. It might mean he just helps you get up one rung.
All
But,
right.
you know, if you
I-
think back from where you were 10 years ago or where you were a year ago and all the
Yeah.
problems that you had, if you'd have just had somebody that said, here, do this, this, and this, and trust the process, and it'll make your life easier,
Yeah.
you might have went and said, well, I don't want to do this. This is scary. This doesn't seem right. It doesn't feel right, you know, whatever. But he's still been there. He's still gone through it. He still knows it. You just have to
That's a
trust
good
that.
word.
Yeah.
I need a coach that has experience in the streaming platform
Yeah.
member area. I need to take Abundance Plus to the next level.
Yeah.
It's gone to a great level, but it's still primarily driven by my marketing influence. And it'd be really cool
we
to
don't want it
get
to
with
be
somebody
that.
who's already grown a platform like that exponentially without one influencer, so to speak.
Right.
That's
bet
what I'm going to
there's
be
People out there.
working
Yeah.
on and thinking hard in
somebody out there.
2022 is taking it to the next level without putting me on the marketing treadmill.
Yes. Yes.
Jill's like,
Like,
for
I
those
know
listening,
that
she's
treadmill.
really not
I
here.
know
Are you
it.
getting off that treadmill? Trying to get some more automation, some more networking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I think we'll wrap it up, but folks should definitely check out Freedom Foundry memberships. I think that's the future. People are opting into, they're quitting the TV. It's cool now to quit TV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And instead, you go to memberships, you go to streaming platforms, you cancel your cable and you get Netflix, you get Abundance Plus, you get Discovery Plus, you get Freedom Foundry, which is so much more, I think, than just videos, it sounds like. So that's it too. Somebody was like, you know, how do I compete with Netflix? I was inspired by Netflix and try to create a platform like that. We did, but I would be stupid to go try and defeat them.
Yeah.
And it happened at the business conference. Somebody pointed out you in that situation. Well, you essentially nicheify, and you serve a market that's underserved that Netflix isn't touching.
You're almost like you're blue ocean off the red ocean.
Yes,
a
it
little
was
bit.
you. It was the blue red
because
ocean thing.
If you were trying to do
It was your top.
Netflix serves everyone basically. So if you're trying to
Yeah.
compete with that, that'd
Yeah.
be a disaster. But yeah, Netflix won't feature the type of wholesome stuff you're doing because it's not
No.
it's not you know
And you
gory
can't
enough.
make a
It doesn't-
comment on the video,
Yeah.
right?
So it's
And so I went, you're right. It was the blue ocean, red ocean thing.
Yeah.
You were talking about the blue ocean, or most people are in the red ocean, right?
Yep.
Or most things.
Yep.
And you have to pick something that nobody's quite doing. How are they underserving? And where Netflix isn't going to go is they're not going to have a community area.
no.
There's no texting access if you have any
Right.
questions. There's not any instructional videos,
Yeah.
right?
And it's just completely different genre. Of course. I
Yeah.
mean, they don't have quite that same wholesome like family. Some of their shows do, but that's not what it's focused
Yeah,
around.
yeah.
So
All right.
yeah.
So we'll wrap it up with this question. Which is going to be what next? But did I miss anything? You guys want to add anything?
I don't think so.
No, I
Okay.
think,
Covered good
yeah.
ground. Yeah.
Okay. So then what's next?
For me, it's working on the book, another book.
Okay.
So that won't come out till 2023. So
What's the name of that book?
tentatively, you know how it goes.
Uh-huh.
Old Fashioned on Purpose.
Is this what you want it to be named?
It is. I want it to be named Old Fashioned. And
Are
if,
you going to be insistent on that?
is he going to be assistant?
No, you.
Insistent.
Oh, I'm going to be.
Are you
I
gonna
will
make
fight
sure?
pretty hard, and it's pretty much in. I think everybody knows like that's what it's named. But if I do get pushback, I will probably throw quite the tantrum over if they try to change the name. I don't think they will. I think we'll be okay. Famous last words, but that's.
I was going to name
yeah.
my book Your Best Homestead Ever.
It's not that.
And they,
at all.
yeah,
And what
Maybe.
happened was, so we started out being everything. We were given guides to everything,
Yeah,
how
it
to
was
do
gonna be
everything.
The ultimate homestead.
And they were like,
Oh.
we're wanting to get this to 40,000 words. I don't know.
and I'm like,
You
yeah,
know,
we're not
bouncing
getting
forth
that.
this is one thing I've enjoyed about the publishing experience is that it's a team.
yeah.
yes,
Even though I'm a control freak and just want to do
Yeah.
everything,
yeah,
it has been good because then it's like the publisher and my agent kept pushing for lifestyle.
mm-hmm.
Like they wanted this in Target. there's nothing wrong with Premier One magazine, but Premier One magazine's books, you know, would only be homesteading
Super
books.
niched, yeah.
They wanted me to be Target.
Yeah.
And said, push for me for lifestyle. But then when I started writing about lifestyle, like how to get your children involved, how to not feel like a weirdo when you're doing these things, how to be a good husband and dad, that's where the pen started flying.
Yes.
Yeah, he loved that part.
Yes.
He's like, I really like this.
Yeah.
And then we
I'm
could.
glad we didn't.
It wasn't
going to
be that. And we there was so we narrowed it down. Oh, it can't be the. You know, before we started discovering the lifestyle stuff, it's like, oh, let's just do chickens and gardens. All right, I want to name this the Chicken Garden Miracle.
Yeah.
But then it steered into the lifestyle
Yeah.
stuff. And I got on the phone with the publisher, said, I got a name. Let's get on the phone. Yeah. And I said, well, okay, what's it going to be? And she said, The Looted Life. I said, okay. And I didn't want to shoot it down right. Okay, let me think about that.
He actually
And
wrote
I was
down
thinking on the phone, I wrote it
Looted
down.
Life.
I'm thinking they really don't get this. This is not like a gardening publisher. This is a mainstream publisher or something. They just don't get this.
Yeah.
And by the end, she said it again or something. Oh, she said The Rooted Life.
Big difference.
That makes
I know,
sense.
it
I love
is.
it. And by the way, her husband thought of it. So
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's cool.
it pins down the book a little bit more. I don't know why I say that, but I feel like the old fashioned on purpose. It's nailing it.
I'm looking forward to it.
I would
It's gonna be-
I was really flexible with the cookbook title, and I'm being real flexible with the flow of the book. Like it's already changing. And I love that process. I love when you have the collaboration and it turns into something even better than you ever thought. But I don't know. They'd have to come up with something pretty good to.
Oh, can I
replace
say this? I
old-fashioned on
hope I can
purpose.
say this. We can exit if you don't want to say it, but
Yeah.
there was a point. I think it was around the cookbook time. It was at Homesteaders America. You came to our house after the event, and you said you wanted to be an American brand.
Yeah. Yeah.
But a year later, not so much.
Yeah.
What happened there?
It's been a weird. I don't know. I don't know what happened.
That's what
It's over here and laughing.
Look.
I'm very
smiling.
like what people sometimes maybe people realize this, maybe they don't. I'm a super like driven. Like in the cookbook people
You
thought
wanted to be the pioneer woman.
I wanted to be
right?
the pioneer woman. I'm like, I'm gonna take on Joanna Gaines. Like,
Yeah.
let's do this. I'm a bigger national, and then I still have, because people are like, I used to always be able to just spit out exactly what we're doing next when people would ask me, what's your 1 year, 5 year, 10 year? And I'm like, this, I'm doing this. And I've mellowed. I'm still driven. I'm still purposeful. I'm still intense, but I just feel more just like in flow. So now at this point, like, I'm really excited about this book. I'm so pumped. I can hardly sleep about this book. But,
Because the mellow flow is coming out?
the flow's coming out. Yeah. And I'm like, could it be New York
Christian's
Times?
saying
Sure. Yeah, it could. If it doesn't hit New York Times, I'm gonna do everything I can. But if it doesn't, I'm just like, it'll serve its purpose. It'll do what it's supposed to do.
Christian, you've been so polite. Why?
What are you
why
wanting to
did she
say?
go from wanting to be a national
No,
brand to slowing down on that a little bit?
I think I think it's probably a combination of what you said, but she's also very passionate about the book, and that's got her 100% attention right now. So it's
It's on the
But the
front
goal
burner.
for it is not to be a
Yeah.
national brand.
I mean,
National brand.
I don't want the Prairie. I don't really feel the same calling, or not calling wasn't the word, like drive for the Prairie Homestead to have its TV show and to have its
Oh.
own lifestyle. Like
Okay.
that, I'm like,
You didn't want that
I don't know if
brand
that's
to
right
be the
for
national
me.
brand.
Like I want to be. I feel like even the soda fountain. 5 years ago, if we would have bought the soda fountain, I'm gonna be like, this is the best dang restaurant in the whole state of Wyoming. And now I'm like, I want the soda fountain to serve the community. I
Yeah.
want it to have good food. I want it to be a hub. If it becomes something else, that's great. I'm not gonna stop that. But I'm also like not going into it with that same intention. And it feels peaceful and it feels good. It's still, I'm still pushing it forward. I'm still like, I'm not just
Yeah.
sitting there like a limp noodle hoping it comes
Right.
'Cause
together.
Are you guys happy?
Yeah.
Well, then why risk messing
That's,
that up?
I mean, yeah. We're following what lights us up, and I like to be challenged. I'm definitely challenged, but I don't feel like I have to go prove something to someone anymore. I did for a time. I was trying to
Wow.
prove something. I don't need to prove anything. We're good. Like life is good.
So that we got a lot to look forward from you guys next. You are flexible. You know, you're going to be on our show. You're going to be on our show Divergence.
Yes. I'm so
And
excited.
that's where it's off the Robert Frost poem.
Love it.
You come to a decision and you end up taking this lesser path, and it's hard. We're hopefully we'll dig into the struggles of why it's hard taking this path. It's fearful. It's embracing fear. It's being alienated. It's having the need to hire coaches. This is not an easy path. It's putting yourself in the public eye. But then hopefully at the end of the day, as the poem ends, this has made all the difference. And here you two sit here and tell me you're happy. And I feel like your story is so exciting because you're diverging from, you're in a divergence.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what this conversation will be like when we have you back in 5 years.
Yeah. And
Hopefully it's not 5 years. Could you guys
we'll come back before
sooner?
5 years
Yeah,
for
'cause-
sure.
Yeah.
And hopefully we come to you.
But I
before
think
5 years.
I think in the past I would have told you, well, and this is exactly what I see happening in 5 years. And I don't know. But I feel
don't
good.
know.
I feel like bring it. Like let's do it.
I think in the past that used to cause a lot of stress. You're sitting there worried about, it's not that you can't set milestones or targets
Yeah.
or goals, but you're worried about can those things happen? Where now it's more, we just know things are going to happen.
Yeah.
So it's just less stress.
You just maybe
and
have
it's-
more experience.
I think so.
You're
So you're just like
Yeah.
letting it flow as opposed to like creating.
Forcing. Yeah.
Yeah.
a lot of people's divergent stories are, I got sick, I got into homesteading. Those are good.
Yeah.
Or I bucked. Well, it was your divergent story early on. I started questioning things. But where I hope and think we'll go with this, I think that's one divergence that's important. But I think we'll go with this where you're now mature enough, and you created this homesteading brand. You're now mature enough to actually be diverging from that.
Yeah.
You're not diverging from homesteading. You're still homesteading,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, totally.
But you are diverging from, at a time, this is all I want to be, all I can show I am, to now, no, there's something even better than that.
Yeah.
And life's not all about homesteading, and that's okay.
That's okay. Yeah. It's like a little, I
And-
think it's growing up.
And people will relate
It's
to
growing
that.
up. Yeah.
Yeah, you're growing up.
Yeah.
So that's going to be neat to get to capture y'all's divergence in that way. So thank
Yeah.
you
Thank
for
you.
doing that.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. I'm excited.
Yeah. All right. Peace.
He's loving Mason
Love
jars.
Mason jars.
Yeah.
That's a wrap.